Down in the grimy slums where the locals are literally spitting on each other, our boy trudges home. He navigates the noisy, filthy neighborhood and finally reaches his castle, a tiny 180 square foot rooftop box. Pulling back his hood to reveal the face of pure exhaustion, he settles in for his nightly gourmet meal of instant ramen. Working 3 jobs is not enough to save a single dime because he is completely drowning in debt. With 0 special skills and just a functioning body to his name, he knows his future is looking incredibly bleak. But just as he accepts his fate as a total wage slave, a bright blue system window flashes right in his face. Bong Joon-hyuk has officially awakened. The shock makes him spit out his boiling hot noodles, burning his tongue as he stares at the holographic screen in absolute disbelief. Now, usually an awakening is the ultimate jackpot. It is a one-way ticket to showering in gold coins and leaving the broke life behind. But there is a massive catch. You actually have to survive to spend that cash. Entering the tower is basically a death sentence for a weakling. You could get ripped to shreds by ugly green monsters, or just straight up die from chugging some random poison. Entering the tower is basically a death sentence. You can get ripped apart by monsters, frozen solid, or crushed by traps. Our boy Bong Joon-hyuk knows this better than anyone. He is the ultimate safety instructor for his own life. He avoids sketchy alleyways by pretending to be on the phone and dodges construction sites like the plague. He has lived his entire 25 years as a certified coward. But right in the middle of his sad ramen dinner, he gets a system notification saying he awakened. He pauses with his chopsticks in hand, wondering if the exhaustion is finally making him hallucinate. To test it out, he dramatically yells for his status window. A glowing blue screen pops up right in his tiny apartment. He waves his hand through the hologram and realizes this is actually real life. He is a level 1 player with the summon trait. Now, awakened players get all sorts of crazy traits like swordsmanship or healing, but summoners get to call upon absolute units like elemental spirits, majestic unicorns, giant rock golems, and literal demons. Our boy stares intensely, his heart pounding as he wonders what kind of legendary beast he can bring into the world. He strikes the most anime pose possible and screams out his command to summon, but absolutely nothing happens. He immediately blushes and cringes at himself. He feels like a total idiot standing in his living room throwing up gang signs at the wall. Our boy quickly realizes he is an absolute clown. It is common knowledge that awakening skills only work inside the tower. He feels like a total idiot for even trying to strike a pose in his tiny apartment. But then a blue system window pops up out of nowhere. It tells him he just activated a random summon. His eye twitches in pure shock as a blinding purple light erupts right in front of his front door. Out steps a whole dude dressed like a fantasy cosplayer. Our guy is completely losing his mind. He has no idea how his skill just worked in the real world. The new guy cheerfully salutes and confirms he is indeed a living, breathing human. This makes 0 sense since summoners usually pull spirits or golems, not random dudes off the street. Before he can even process this glitch in the Matrix, the summoned warrior starts sniffing the air. He spots the sad pot of ramen and immediately begs for a bite. He slurps it down with 0 hesitation, leaving our boy to realize he just used his ultra-rare awakening to summon a literal freeloader. The armored dude immediately starts slurping down our boy's dinner but starts sweating bullets, complaining that the mild udon is too spicy. Our guy just stares at him in disbelief, wondering how he managed to pull a human summon outside the tower just to get a 1-bite moocher with 0 spice tolerance. A system window pops up to explain the mechanics. Turns out summons are divided into tiers ranging from rare all the way up to legendary, special, super rare. Our boy realizes his life has literally just turned into a gacha game. The system also lays out the 3 golden rules for the summoned. Number 1, they have to protect the summoner's life above all else. Number 2, they have to absolutely obey orders. And number 3, if those 2 conflict, the first rule takes priority. While the guy chugs the rest of the ramen broth, our boy decides to check his actual stats. The system reveals he pulled an SR rank human named John Cossack, who apparently goes by the title of Mad Assassin of the Cruel Assassins Guild. Before he can even process that edgy title, a massive headache hits him out of nowhere. A sudden rush of information floods his brain and his eye glitches out as he gets sucked into a literal void. He falls upside down through space and time until he crashes right into a vision of a castle courtyard, where his new assassin buddy is already leaping into battle. Our boy's brain practically short-circuits as he gets sucked into a glitchy psychic vortex. He drops straight into a vision of the assassin's past life and gets a front row seat to a total bloodbath. The guy is just effortlessly dicing up guards in a courtyard like he is chopping vegetables. And just to prove he really earned that Mad Assassin title, he starts gift-wrapping their severed heads with cute little red bows. What a thoughtful guy. But his winning streak did not last forever. The vision shifts to his final mission where he tried to sneak up on a sleeping target in a fancy mansion. Turns out that target was the Empire's strongest swordmaster, who woke up and instantly packed him up in a body bag. The summoner snaps back to reality only to find this absolute psychopath looming right over his shoulder. He practically jumps out of his skin and scrambles backward across the floor, stuttering out an apology. But then he remembers the golden rule of the system. The summon has to absolutely obey his orders. Taking a deep breath to stop his heart from exploding, he decides to test the waters. He points at the kitchen and orders the legendary killer to wash his ramen pot and wipe down the table. And without missing a beat, the assassin zips over and starts scrubbing like his life depends on it. Our boy is absolutely stunned. The assassin wipes down the table at lightning speed without a single complaint. He really does follow every order to the letter. Ju-yuk decides to push his luck and tells the guy to clean it like a dog. The assassin immediately drops to his knees. Ju-yuk panics for a second, thinking the legendary killer might snap and murder him. But nope. The guy just starts barking and rolling around on the floor like a happy golden retriever. Ju-yuk gives a solid thumbs up. The absolute obedience trait is totally real. But the wholesome moment gets ruined when someone starts violently pounding on the front door, screaming for Ju-yuk to open up. Turns out our boy is drowning in debt. He had to borrow 10 million won from a shady loan shark to pay for his dad's hospital bills and his brother's college tuition. He has already paid back half of it in interest alone and hasn't even touched the principal. It was a terrible financial decision, but he literally had no other choice. The loan shark keeps banging on the door, demanding his money. Hearing the threat, the assassin immediately draws his glowing blades with a psychotic smile. He happily offers to chop the guy's head off right now. Ju-yuk starts sweating bullets, realizing his new summon is going to be a massive liability. Our boy quickly shoves the deadly assassin into the kitchen and orders him to stay completely silent. The guy literally asks if he is still allowed to breathe. But before our boy can even process that level of obedience, a heavy hand clamps down on his neck. It is his friendly neighborhood loan shark checking in because the monthly interest payment is late. The thug flashes a gold-toothed grin and casually suggests selling a kidney to clear the debt. One of his lackeys chimes in, asking if our boy has a younger brother since fresh organs fetch a premium price. That strikes a nerve. Our boy glares daggers at the crew, but the boss immediately steps up and asks if he wants to throw hands. Remembering he is built like a wet noodle, our boy instantly drops the tough guy act, forces a customer service smile, and apologizes until the thugs finally slam the door shut. The assassin casually strolls out of hiding and praises his master for staying so quiet. Exhausted from the double shift, the awakening, and the casual death threats, our boy collapses. He briefly considers actually climbing the tower to pay off his massive debt, but immediately remembers he is a massive coward who would definitely die to a low-level goblin. Defeated on the floor, he asks the summoned killer what he wants to do now. Instead of begging for blood, the legendary assassin cheerfully raises his hand and asks if he can just chill, watch some TV, and eat more ramen. Our boy is way too tired to question how a historical fantasy killer knows about television, so he just says yes. Our boy finally gets some shut-eye while his new assassin buddy binges some late-night dramas. For the first time in forever, the broke loser actually feels a little bit of comfort having someone else in the room. He drifts off thinking maybe this whole summoning gig will not be so bad after all. Morning hits and the 8 a.m. alarm ruins the vibe. He wakes up to an empty room and realizes his 6-hour free trial of a deadly bodyguard expired overnight. He vaguely remembers the system notification popping up in his sleep. Shaking off the weirdness, he decides to just forget about the whole awakening thing and get ready for another soul-crushing shift at work. But as he is brushing his teeth, the morning news catches his ear. The anchor reports a breaking story about a gruesome triple homicide at a local illegal lending office. The exact same office run by the loan sharks who just threatened him. His eyes go wide and the toothbrush hits the floor. The news anchor drops the real kicker. The victims were found decapitated with red ribbons tied around their heads. A horrifying flashback hits him like a truck. He remembers the exact calling card of the mad assassin he summoned just hours ago. Turns out his loyal new minion took his venting a little too literally and decided to wrap up his debt problems with a neat little bow. Our boy absolutely loses his mind, screaming in pure panic. He realizes he didn't just summon a quirky roommate to do his chores. He summoned a full-blown psychopathic serial killer who just gift-wrapped the local loan sharks. The next morning, our boy wakes up to a breaking news report that absolutely shatters his reality. The headline reads, "The Smile Cash Murder Case," and right there on the screen is the gold-ringed hand of the loan shark boss and the severed heads of his lackeys, all neatly decorated with cute little red bows. Our wimp is absolutely losing his mind at his convenience store job. He is sweating bullets, realizing his crazy new summon actually went out and slaughtered those guys just like he promised. The trauma is hitting him so hard he starts hallucinating a massive headless corpse holding its own bow-tied head, asking to be rung up. Our boy completely loses it and dives backward into the cigarette rack, screaming for his life. But it turns out it is just a totally normal girl trying to buy some Valentine chocolates. After totally embarrassing himself, he decides his mental health is in the absolute gutter and resolves to take a sick day from all 3 of his part-time jobs tomorrow. Trudging home alone through the snow while surrounded by happy couples, he cannot stop thinking about the blood on his hands. Back at his freezing rooftop apartment, he pulls up the system catalog to check his summon stats. Seeing the super rare grade and the title Mad Assassin of the Cruel Guild confirms his worst fears. He really is bound to a total psychopath. Our boy sits on his kitchen floor and pulls up the system interface. He reaches out to initiate a designated summon for his psycho assassin. A sudden notification chimes in his ear. The system demands he leave a satisfaction rating for his previous summon before proceeding. The kid finally realizes why the catalog had a whole review section built into it. Remembering how this absolute madman just went and decapitated 3 people without a single order, our boy is absolutely fuming. He decides this guy is a massive liability and throws up a middle finger to lock in a brutal 1-star review. But at the last second, his conscience kicks in. He remembers his mom hustling as a water purifier rental coordinator and knows exactly how soul-crushing a bad customer review can be. Being the ultimate pushover, he settles for a safe 3 stars instead. The system locks in the rating and a blinding purple light floods the apartment. The red-haired assassin materializes with a crisp salute and a massive grin. He enthusiastically thanks his boss for the 3 stars and promises to grind even harder. The kid is sweating bullets and hesitantly asks about the loan sharks from yesterday. The assassin just beams with pride and casually admits he slaughtered them all right before his timer ran out. Our boy completely loses his mind, realizing he is trapped in a room with a literal serial killer. Our boy is standing face to face with his brand new psycho summon. He tries to calm his racing heart, reminding himself that at least this crazy assassin is bound by the system not to hurt him. But how did he even find those guys? The assassin casually explains he planted a tracker mark on the loan sharks when they barged in earlier. Our boy is horrified, screaming that he never actually ordered a hit on them. The assassin happily points to the system rules. The 3rd clause of the summons states that protecting the summoner's life completely overrides any direct orders. So if our boy ordered the assassin to kill him, it is a hard pass. But the loan sharks weren't an active threat right then. The assassin shrugs, saying in his professional opinion they were a future threat, making it a perfectly reasonable judgment call. Our boy calls him an absolute psychopath, then immediately apologizes so he doesn't get his own head chopped off. The assassin just laughs it off, saying he gets that a lot. This realization sends our boy into a full-blown panic attack. He imagines a totally normal scenario where he is just walking down the street and accidentally bumps shoulders with some random tough guy. Normally, a guy like that just yells empty threats, but with this psycho bodyguard around, that guy is definitely losing his head over a minor inconvenience. Our boy realizes that if some random punk on the street even looks at him funny, his psycho summon is going to take it as a mortal threat and start handing out red ribbons like it is Christmas. Back in reality, the assassin drops to his knees and apologizes for the whole murder spree thing. The kid begs him to promise he will not just go around killing people on mere suspicion. The assassin literally starts whistling and looking away, saying he cannot make any promises. But then he hits a crisp salute and yells that he will use his best judgment. Our boy just sighs, knowing that is the most evasive non-answer ever. Changing the subject, the red-haired psycho asks if his master has considered climbing the tower. The kid freezes up. He thinks about the glowing purple monolith and the absolute nightmare fuel monsters inside it, and straight up admits that he is terrified. He asks about the past summoners who commanded this guy. The assassin smiles fondly, probably remembering some absolute chads. Our boy looks down in shame. He confesses that unlike those heroes who use their powers to save the world, he is just a coward who does not have the guts to risk his own life. He braces himself for the disappointment, cutting off his summon to agree that he is pathetic. But instead of roasting him, the assassin throws his hands up like a total fanboy and declares him the greatest summoner of all time. The assassin grabs our boy by the shoulders and declares that a summoner's greatest virtue is actually putting safety first. He gets way too close for comfort with a massive grin and tells him that brave summoners die young. He bursts into laughter and promises to handle all the dirty work so our guy can just lay low and live a long life. The next morning, our protagonist wakes up looking like he just pulled an all-nighter. He spent the whole night stressing over whether he should actually climb the tower or not. He decides he is way too weak for that life and should just be grateful his massive debt got wiped out. He heads up to the roof for a stretch and resolves to just work a safe, normal job like a regular NPC. But the universe has other plans. His phone starts buzzing in his pocket and it is his dad calling. He asks if his dad is keeping up with his rehab but gets hit with the news that he needs to transfer to a bigger hospital. And to make matters worse, his dad just got fired. His old man tries to play it off and tells him not to worry, but our boy is absolutely sweating bullets. They agree to get a meal soon and hang up, leaving our guy standing there in dead silence as reality hits him like a truck. So much for that normal life. Our boy immediately gears up to enter the tower rocking the ultimate safety manager drip. He is armed with a hard hat, a high-vis vest, a baseball bat, and a literal wet floor sign for a shield. He rationalizes that he will just take a quick peek at the first floor and dip the second things get sketchy. Plus, he is banking on summoning a brand new super rare entity so he does not have to deal with his psycho assassin ever again. Our boy is geared up in his finest Home Depot drip, ready to hit the gotcha for a brand new summon. He is praying for literally anyone who isn't a decapitation enthusiast. But the system hits him with the ultimate free-to-play reality check. Random summons are locked behind a massive 28-day cooldown. Left with 0 options, he bites the bullet and summons his resident psychopath. The assassin spawns in glowing purple, hyped out of his mind and thanking our boy for the 5-star review. Our wimp sweats bullets, praying this guy cannot read minds and realize he was totally about to be replaced. He announces they are finally entering the tower. The assassin hypes up his bravery, but our boy instantly folds, clarifying he just wants to peek inside and immediately dip. The assassin respects the cowardice, slapping the baseball bat and wet floor sign right out of his hands. He wags a finger and promises our guy will not have to lift a single muscle while he handles all the dirty work. The system prompts them to enter the first floor of the Korean Black Tower. Before our boy can even process the text, his overeager summon just reaches out and smashes the accept button. The teleportation sequence kicks in. The assassin strikes a majestic pose like he is dropping into a fresh lobby, while our boy gets violently sucked into the digital vortex, screaming for his life. Our boy gets violently yanked through a digital portal by his psycho summon. He screams for his life the entire ride down. They crash land inside a hex grid safe zone. The kid looks around the barren wasteland of the first floor before the motion sickness hits him like a truck. He instantly drops to his knees and pukes up a literal rainbow while his assassin buddy casually pats his back. The red-haired warrior leads the way out of the bubble. The second our guy steps foot into the danger zone, the system assists him with the good stuff. His physical abilities get boosted to match his level and his combat skills unlock. He adjusts his goofy construction hat and flexes his fingers. He finally understands why people risk their lives in here, because even at level 1 he feels like an absolute unit. A blue screen drops his first mission. He has 2 hours to wipe out 5 tough-skinned fat maggots. The assassin gives him a cheerful smile as they spot the targets wiggling in the dirt. The kid remembers reading a wiki guide about these things. They are basically giant punching bags that deal 0 damage, but their skin is so thick that it takes forever to actually kill one. Our boy remembers the online guide saying it takes a normal player half an hour just to kill one of these things, but he clenches his fist and hypes himself up. He is an awakened player now. He steps right past his summon, acting all tough and saying he will handle the first kill himself. He marches right up to the giant fat maggot, but then reality hits him. He literally does not own a weapon. He turns around to ask his crazy assassin for a sword, but the giant bug starts twitching. The maggot rears up, glowing neon green and looking ready to spit acid. Our boy completely freezes. All that fake confidence evaporates instantly. He slowly turns back around, sweating buckets, and meekly begs his summon to save his life. The red-haired psycho gives him a massive thumbs up, praising his master for making such a wise choice. He instantly dashes forward, glowing with blue energy, and absolutely obliterates the giant bug, popping it like a gross green water balloon. The assassin goes completely feral. He zips around the battlefield with glowing blue energy claws, launching the heavy maggots into the air like they weigh nothing. He unleashes a massive barrage of high-speed slashes, dicing the entire mob of monsters into tiny pieces before our boy can even blink. The red-haired psycho goes absolutely feral. He unleashes a flurry of high-speed claw strikes, launching the giant maggots into the air and dicing them into bug juice with glowing blue energy trails. Our boy in the hard hat just stands there completely stunned as his summon effortlessly obliterates the entire wave in seconds. A system window pops up announcing he cleared the first floor and leveled up. He gets 100 grams of mana stone and an S++ rank. The system even tosses him a platinum badge for the perfect clear. Our guy is practically doing backflips in his mind. He realizes this tower climbing gig is way too easy and he is about to be filthy rich. But what our clueless protagonist doesn't realize is that the system just blasted his insane achievement to literally everyone. Every single player across Korea gets a massive blue pop-up on their screens announcing that someone just casually dropped an S++ rank on the first floor. From office workers to gym bros, the entire country is left completely speechless. The system asks if he wants to hit the second floor, but he opts out and they instantly teleport right back into his kitchen. Still feeling a little motion sick from the fast travel, he checks his phone and realizes that entire raid only took 5 minutes. His psychotic summon gives him a cheerful bow and congratulates him on a job well done, even though our boy literally didn't lift a finger. Our boy is completely baffled since he literally just stood there and did absolutely nothing while his summon did all the heavy lifting. But the assassin gives him a double thumbs up and says that is exactly what a boss is supposed to do. Looking down, our boy spots the loot drop, a shiny blue crystal and some weird silver badge. He picks up the crystal, realizing it is a genuine mana stone. These bad boys are the backbone of modern industry. Thanks to YouTube and the news, everyone knows the going rate for these rocks is about 50 grand a pop for 100 grams. But that silver badge is a total mystery to him. Still, he is not complaining. He just made 50,001 in 3 minutes flat. To celebrate, he orders up a massive feast of jockball. The assassin immediately starts sniffing the air like a bloodhound, asking if it is the spicy kind. Our boy reminds him he ordered the regular version since the big bad killer has the spice tolerance of a toddler. The assassin happily digs in, thanking his master with some seriously outdated Shakespearean dialogue. Our boy asks why he talks like he just stepped out of a Renaissance fair. He figures it must be the lingering influence of his previous summoner, kind of like picking up a weird habit from a toxic ex. The assassin offers to drop the act if it is annoying, but our boy just laughs it off. Watching this supposed madman happily stuff his face with pork, our boy realizes something crucial. This guy is not some uncontrollable monster at all. He is just a massive work in progress. Looking at his shiny yellow hard hat, our boy realizes this whole tower climbing gig is actually doable. His psycho assassin is basically just a really eager golden retriever with a body count. The next morning, he maps out a brand new Sigma male grindset routine. He is keeping his day jobs at the convenience store and the barbecue joint, but instead of sleeping, he is hitting the tower with his red-haired carry every single night. He drops his summon another 5-star Uber rating, which sends the guy into absolute overdrive. The assassin explains that maxing out customer satisfaction actually buffs his stats, increasing his summon duration and overall rank. They warp straight into the second floor of the Black Tower. The system drops a new quest to eliminate 10 nimble fat maggots within 2 hours. Our boy starts sweating, warning his carry that these bugs are way faster and trickier than the last batch. He tells him not to go all out or they might die, but the assassin just laughs in his face. He holds up 3 fingers, vowing to speedrun this floor in 3 minutes flat so he can escort his master home. Hearing that, our boy immediately starts screaming about getting chicken and beer for dinner. The assassin is absolutely shredding the second floor. It is a total massacre of glowing blue energy. Our boy is left standing there, sweating as the system dings again. Second floor cleared, leveled up, and another S++ rank with a shiny platinum badge. The wimp realizes this is basically a cheat code. He could literally farm this place before his morning shift. They drop into the 3rd floor, and our guy tries to stick a superhero landing but completely whiffs it. The assassin just laughs at his slow reflexes. But the jokes stop when the killing starts. The red-haired psycho nukes the 3rd floor in a massive blue explosion. Boom, another level up, more mana stones, and yet another S++ rank. They are speedrunning this tower like it is a mobile game tutorial. 4th floor cleared. The assassin hits a smug little pose. 5th floor cleared. The two of them are literally high-fiving over the absolute destruction they just caused. Then the system drops a massive bomb. Because our boy just hoarded 5 platinum badges in a row, he unlocks a hidden perk. A shiny new system message suddenly pops up. Bagging 5 of those platinum badges just unlocked a hidden perk. Our boy is absolutely stunned as the system grants him an awakening trait enhancement, and the effect is massive. His simultaneous summon limit just bumps up to 2. One psycho assassin is already a handful, but now he gets to pull a whole second wildcard into the mix. Our boy checks his shiny new status window and his jaw drops. Hitting level 6 just unlocked a second concurrent summon slot. He realizes he can drag another minion into the tower with him, which is honestly overkill since his psycho assassin is already soloing the whole place. But hey, those S++ clear rewards are just too juicy to pass up. Thinking long-term, our wimp imagines himself crossing a marathon finish line wrapped in safety tape. He checks his system and sees his random summon skill is still on cooldown for another 20 days. So his master plan is to just survive until then. Actually, scratch that. His real plan is to kick back and slack off while his 2 summons do all the heavy lifting and farm those top-tier ranks for him. Meanwhile, over at the Korean Awakening Management Department, the vibe is dead silent. The team leader is stressing over when to drop their next big press release. Suddenly, his female coworker leans in way too close and casually reads his mind. He completely loses it and screams at her to stop invading his privacy, while she just shrugs it off as natural curiosity. Getting back to business, the boss asks if the new announcement is live. The mind reader confirms that someone just bagged another S++ clear on the 6th floor. The team leader starts sweating bullets. He realizes this string of perfect clears from floor 1 to 6 has to be the work of a single absolute monster. He pictures this mystery player as some terrifying god of gaming and starts panicking about what happens if this absolute unit keeps sweeping perfect scores all the way to the 10th floor. Meanwhile, at the Awakening Management Department, the big boss is absolutely losing his mind. He slams his hands on the desk because the highest rank ever recorded in Korea was a measly A. Now some mystery player is dropping S++ clears back to back. The director warns his team that top-tier players are secretly getting kidnapped by foreign countries. He orders them to find this absolute unit immediately before they lose him to a rival nation. 2 days later, our boy is living the dream. His psychopathic assassin summon is happily scrubbing dishes in bright pink gloves and bragging about clearing a floor a day with 0 effort. The summoner just watches him work and figures the first 10 floors are basically just the tutorial zone anyway, so it makes sense they are breezing through it. Cut to the duo trudging through a misty swamp inside the tower. The 8th floor mission pops up demanding they wipe out 10 red thorn frog warriors. One of the overgrown amphibians tries to whip them with its gross purple tongue, but the assassin is already moving. He draws his blades and turns the entire frog squad into sashimi with a flurry of glowing blue slashes. The system instantly chimes in with the clear notification. Our boy levels up and bags an 800-gram mana stone along with some healing potions. And of course, he secures another S++ rank and a shiny new platinum badge. Back in their apartment, the assassin celebrates another flawless victory while our cowardly protagonist sweats bullets, realizing he literally did absolutely nothing to help. Our boy is thrilled they cleared the floor in record time again. He decides to be a generous god and offers his psycho summon a crisp 50,001 bill to go touch some grass, but the assassin violently rejects the cash. He refuses to leave his master's side and would rather just rot on the couch watching TV. Guess absolute obedience comes with a side of extreme clinginess. so they compromise. Our boy suggests ordering fried chicken and the assassin instantly throws on a ridiculous chicken hat to make the call. He specifically requests the sweetest honey butter flavor possible because this ruthless killer absolutely cannot handle spice. While his summon handles the takeout, our boy checks his loot. He bags a tower-exclusive healing potion which he figures he will just toss to his assassin later. He also stares at a massive pile of glowing blue mana stones. With this kind of cash flow, he stretches out in his room and sighs, dreaming of the day he can finally quit his dead-end part-time jobs. They have been grinding a floor a day and it is an absolute breeze. Well, it is a breeze for the assassin, who is out here dicing up jungle cannibal flowers like a blender. Clearing the floor is basically guaranteed at this point, and the S++ platinum badges are just the cherry on top. Our boy raises a mental glass of champagne to toast his carry, completely forgetting that this guy is a literal serial killer who decapitated 3 loan sharks last week. The system pops up to announce the assassin's satisfaction rating is a perfect 5 out of 5. Because of the max score, his summon time gets extended by a whole hour. The assassin throws up a massive heart sign promising to serve his master faithfully. With the bromance secured, they step right into the 10th floor of the Black Tower. The system chimes in, letting our boy know his physical abilities are finally being enhanced to match his level and his combat skills are unlocked. As they walk through the glowing hexagonal barrier into a dense forest, our boy can literally feel the magic power surging through his veins. Stepping onto the 10th floor, the tower hits our boy with a massive physical readjustment buff. He feels the raw magic surging straight into his lower abdomen and immediately pictures himself as a majestic, untamable stallion ready to conquer the world. But reality is a bit more literal. His head has straight up morphed into an actual horse. His psycho assassin summon immediately starts panicking, swearing he will end his own life if his master gets even a single scratch. Our horse boy just tells him to chill since he is already a wild stallion anyway. Suddenly, his new equine ears twitch. He looks up and freezes as he locks eyes with a massive glowing green pupil staring back at him. A gigantic praying mantis bursts from the shadows, towering over them like an absolute kaiju. Our boy is sweating bullets, wondering how the heck normal players are supposed to clear a 10th floor boss like this. But his summon just sighs, complaining that fighting a literal bug is super demeaning to his human pride. Our wimp totally agrees while hiding safely behind him. The giant insect glares down at them, ready to feast. But instead of fighting, our boy just whips out some imaginary pom-poms and goes full cheerleader mode, telling his summon to handle it. The mantis slams its massive scythe arms down to crush them into paste, but the assassin effortlessly backflips out of the danger zone. He locks onto the bug with a dead serious glare, ready to slice this overgrown pest into ribbons. The giant bug gets instantly diced into a glowing green salad. The system chimes in with the usual dopamine hit. 10th floor cleared, level up, another fat mana stone secured, and of course our boy bags another S++ rank and a shiny platinum badge. The mad assassin strikes a pose like he just won a cosplay contest. The system gives them the green light for floor 11 and boots them back to reality. Our wimp tallies up his loot. He is now sitting on 5.5 kilos of pure magical crypto, but the real prize drops next. Since he just hit the milestone of 10 platinum badges, the system slides him a brand new perk. He stares at the glowing blue screen, vibrating with excitement. The perk is absolutely busted. He can permanently copy one single skill from his psycho summon. The list is stacked with edgy assassin moves like Blade Burst and Poison Dagger. The red-haired killer casually chimes in, asking if the skill copy prompt finally showed up. The assassin immediately recommends Shadow Step. He claims it is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card so his master can secretly dip if things go south. Our boy glares back with absolute offense. He asks if he really looks like the kind of coward who would just run away to save his own skin. Spoiler alert, he absolutely is. The system locks in his new Shadow Step skill. His psycho summon hypes up the importance of fancy footwork in a fight, so our boy decides to test it out. He yells the skill name and sprints across the yard, but it turns out he is literally just running with his own 2 legs. He collapses in a sweaty heap, complaining that if magic summons are real, he should at least get a magical dash. Fast forward to the next day, and our wimp is sweating bullets on the phone. He finally bites the bullet and calls the Awakening Management Department to register as a player so he can sell his massive stash of mana stones. The operator congratulates him and asks to send government reps to his house. He gives them his address and immediately slumps over, completely drained from making the most courageous phone call of his 25-year-old life. Meanwhile, a sharp-suited woman struts to a black government sedan. Inside, her team leader asks about a recent awakened guy from Daegu, hoping he was the mystery player breaking all the tower records. Since that was a bust, he invites her to tag along to check out today's newest applicant, desperate to recruit some actual talent. Back at the apartment, our boy is scrubbing his floors like his life depends on it. A sharp knock at the door makes him gulp down his anxiety. He opens up to find the 2 government suits standing on his porch, awkwardly inviting them into his tiny, cramped room. The suit guy introduces his partner, mentioning she is also a player so our boy can ask her anything. Juyuk buzz awkwardly, sweating bullets because having a woman in his cramped apartment makes him even more nervous. But before he can even offer them a seat, the lady leans in way too close for comfort. She stares right into his soul and drops an absolute bomb, asking point blank if he is the mysterious S++ player they have been hunting for. The suit lady gets way too close for comfort, demanding to know if our boy is the legendary S++ player. Juyuk practically jumps out of his skin. He starts sweating bullets, wondering if there is some secret awakened lie detector test he missed the memo on. He quickly decides his best play is to just deny everything and act completely natural. And by natural, I mean he turns into a literal stiff robot. He awkwardly waves his hand and forces out a laugh, claiming he has no idea what she is talking about. The agent just stares at him with dead eyes, instantly recognizing the most textbook lie in human history. Luckily, her boss steps in and chops her on the head for harassing a civilian. He bows and apologizes for the rude probing. Suddenly, a cute little brick mascot named Tavi pops up to give us a quick lore dump. 20 years ago, these massive, ominous black towers just spawned all over the globe overnight. They completely dwarfed the tallest skyscrapers on Earth. Naturally, every country panicked and threw their entire military at them to uncover their secrets. But nobody could even get close. The towers were protected by an invisible barrier that completely blocked all physical access, swatting away helicopters like flies. The mystery was finally solved when the first awakened players started popping up. It turns out the tower operates exactly like a video game. You just walk in, fight monsters, grab some sweet loot, and advance through the floors to level up. The system drops a massive reality check on the world. If a country's Black Tower progress gets too sluggish, a literal doomsday countdown kicks off. Players have exactly 6 months to clear a new upper floor, or it is game over, and by game over, the system means total annihilation. Just look at Mumbai, which got completely wiped off the map 3 years ago when their timer ran out. Luckily for South Korea, they only have one of these giant death traps sitting in Gangwon province. Out of the entire population, only a tiny fraction actually awaken as players. But despite the low numbers, the Korean server is sweating hard. They are currently sitting at the 65th floor, right behind the US at 66. So the government pushes this cheesy propaganda video, begging people to register as official players and become heroes of society. Cut back to reality, where our boy is sweating bullets in his living room. The suit guy wants to ask a few verification questions, but our boy just wants to get this over with. He casually dumps a massive pile of glowing mana stones on the table, proving he has been raiding. The suit guy thinks this is an easy open and shut case and asks what floor he reached. But when our boy casually drops that he hit the 10th floor, the agents completely freeze. The female agent's brain goes into overdrive. The 10th floor is the exact same floor where that legendary S++ record just dropped. She narrows her eyes, wondering if this broke kid sitting in front of them is actually the server's biggest gigachad. She leans in and asks if he has heard about the crazy public announcements trending lately, making the suit guy gulp in pure suspense. Our boy tries to play it cool. He claims he has heard of this mysterious S++ player but has no idea who it could be. He punctuates this with the most robotic, unconvincing laugh known to man while sweating bullets and literally convulsing. Yeah, he is definitely not suspicious at all. The suit guy ignores the seizure and starts explaining the Awakener career paths. You have the general team, who are basically just freelancers doing their own thing. Then you have the elite team, who work closely with the government. They have to push for higher level clears, but they get showered in cash benefits and even personal protection outside the tower. He mentions a basic annual salary, but our boy is too busy having a full-blown panic attack. He imagines the absolute nightmare scenario if his S++ record gets leaked. He pictures himself getting swarmed by aggressive paparazzi shoving mics in his face, asking if it is true he is a friendless beta male. The horror is too much to bear. Snapping back to reality, he immediately cuts the suit guy off and flat out refuses to join the elite team. He nervously fidgets and explains that he is perfectly content just stopping at a reasonable floor and collecting average rewards. The agents are left completely speechless by his absolute lack of ambition. The suit lady mentally writes our boy off as a total dead end. Sure, plenty of players just want to farm the low levels and play it safe, but she has never seen someone so blatantly ungrateful during an evaluation. She decides that even if he begged to join the elite team, they would reject his application since he completely lacks the drive to actually climb the tower. Her boss plays nice and respects the decision, but asks him to hop into the tower real quick just to officially confirm his awakening status. Our boy instantly starts sweating bullets. He knows this is a trap to check his clear time and see if he is the mystery speedrunner. Playing it cool, he agrees to go but drops a massive lie, claiming he usually takes the full 2-hour time limit to clear a single floor. The suit lady just smiles as our guy stands up on his little newspaper portal. He tells them to make themselves at home and raid the fridge before vanishing in a flash of blue light. With him gone, the boss confirms he is definitely an awakened player, but notes how incredibly subdued he acts. The suit lady smugly predicts he is going to tap out on the 11th floor today. She explains that the 11th floor is a pure fear test where players have to slaughter 100 giant hideous centipedes, and judging by how much our boy was shaking in his boots, she highly doubts a total wimp like him could ever pull that off. Back in the apartment, the suit duo is fully convinced our boy is just a total wimp. The female agent smugly predicts he will tap out on the 11th floor and come crying back to the safe zone while her boss just rubs his tired eyes and tells her to get the chief on the line. Meanwhile, inside the tower, our guy wastes zero time and immediately calls upon his favorite psychopath. The system chimes in to confirm the red-haired assassin is locked and loaded for duty, and Cossack pops in with a cheerful salute ready to murder whatever breathes in his general direction. The system drops the 11th floor mission parameters, and it is a straight-up nightmare. He has exactly 3 hours to exterminate 100 long-tailed giant centipedes or face absolute death. Our boy is absolutely disgusted by the creepy crawlies, but Cossack just laughs and promises to wipe them out in 5 minutes flat. But that is exactly what our guy does not want. He pulls his summon aside and orders him to take it as slow as humanly possible. He flashes a wicked grin, realizing this is the perfect chance to tank his clear time and completely throw the feds off his scent. A massive armored centipede rears its ugly head to attack, but before our boy can even blink, Cossack is already airborne. The assassin instantly sliced the giant bug clean in half with terrifying speed, completely ignoring the whole "take it slow" memo. Our boy screams at his psycho summon to pump the brakes and hunt them slower. Cossack actually listens for once, dialing back his murder speed to a casual jog. Juyuk hops onto a giant bug, thinking this slow burn strategy is going to be a total breeze. But then reality hits him like a truck. He slips up and ends up free-falling right into a mosh pit of giant centipedes. His body completely freezes up in pure panic, and just as he realizes he needs to pop a skill to survive, his loyal assassin spots the danger. Cossack instantly drops the slow act and dives into Mach speed. He unleashes an absolute nuke of an attack, completely shredding the entire swarm of bugs into green mist just to catch his master. The entire floor gets instantly vaporized in a blinding flash of overkill. Juyuk hits the dirt in one piece, but his jaw drops when he sees the absolute massacre around him. It was way too fast. Cossack cheerfully defends himself, claiming he tried to go slow, but his master's safety is the ultimate priority. Our boy just completely loses his mind, realizing that if his summon keeps speedrunning to save his life, his plan to lay low is completely cooked. The system chimes in with the absolute worst possible news. An S++ rank clear on the 11th floor. Our boy gets slapped with another platinum badge and groans in pure frustration. Cossack apologizes as they get booted out of the tower. Back in the real world, the suit duo is just chilling. The lady agent smirks and notes it has only been 5 minutes. She fully expects our guy to come crawling back in defeat. But then a massive holographic screen pops up right in their faces, blasting the global announcement of the S++ clear. Right on cue, our boy materializes in a flash of blue light. The agents are absolutely stunned. They put 2 and 2 together, realizing the legendary S++ player just spawned in their living room at the exact same second the notification dropped. Our guy lowers his head and mutters under his breath. He really did not want it to come to this, but with his secret out, he summons his psycho assassin right behind him, declaring that these 2 government suits are going to have to be silenced. Our boy's psycho assassin summon immediately leaps into action, declaring that these 2 government suits need to be permanently silenced. Before our wimpy protagonist can even process what is happening, the madman goes full fruit ninja on the agents. Our boy absolutely loses his mind in sheer terror as the severed heads of the recruiters suddenly start apologizing to him, complete with the assassin's signature red bows tied right on top. But plot twist, it was all just a paranoid hallucination. Our boy snaps back to reality to find the 2 agents perfectly intact and kneeling on his floor, asking if he is alright since he is suddenly drenched in a cold sweat. He quickly tries to play it cool, coughing to clear his throat and laughing off the whole situation. He claims his 11th floor run just coincidentally overlapped with some other mystery player. The suit guy is highly skeptical of this incredibly convenient timing. Ignoring the terrible lie, the agent slides over a glowing envelope, stating they have officially confirmed his awakening. Our boy completely panics when he reads the paper, realizing they handed him an ultra-rare elite contract instead of the standard freelancer gig he begged for. The agent just smirks and confirms this contract is on a completely different level. The suit guy hits him with the ultimate pitch. He slides over an ultra-elite contract reserved only for priority management subjects. We are talking a 12 billion won salary, prime real estate, and a personal security detail that makes him look like a mob boss on a red carpet. Throw in total legal immunity and it is basically royalty status. Right now only Korea's #1 ranked player gets this kind of VIP treatment. But our boy is built different. He immediately bows his head and flat out refuses. He screams that he will only sign a standard regular contract. The agents are completely baffled. Our boy explains that he just hates getting attention. He is so socially anxious that a retail worker asking about his style sends him into a full panic attack. And if a restaurant owner recognizes him as a regular and gives him extra food, he gets so stressed he vows to never eat there again. The agents just stare at him in deadpan silence. Our boy drops to his knees with a depressing aura, whining that the tower is only fun right now because it is the early floors and the future is way too uncertain. Realizing they are dealing with a terminal introvert, the suit guy decides it is best to back down for now. They shake on a standard deal. Sure, anyone watching would be screaming at the screen right now, begging him to take the billions and the VIP perks. But our boy knows the truth. An elite contract means heavy responsibilities and actually having to try, which is a massive red flag for a guy who just wants to chill. Our boy lays out his reasoning. He wants absolutely nothing to do with the heavy responsibility of conquering the unclimbed upper floors. He is perfectly happy just making a decent living and avoiding the spotlight. He passes on that kind of pressure. Meanwhile, at the Awakening Management Department, the bald director is scratching his head. He cannot wrap his mind around an S++ rank achiever being a timid guy with zero ambition to climb the tower. The suit guy just shrugs it off. He explains that our boy is just a rare breed of ordinary citizen. But the director is not having it. He slams his fist on the desk and declares that talent is talent. He orders his team to get our boy on the elite roster no matter what it takes. Back at the apartment, our boy is putting on an Oscar-worthy performance. He pretends to be absolutely furious about his rank getting exposed. He warns his shadow assassin that one more slip-up means an instant unsummon. With the ground rules set, he dives right into the 12th floor of the Black Tower. The mission is simple enough. Take out 20 icicle spear weasels within a 3-hour time limit. He summons his trusty assassin and begs him to take it nice and slow this time. Our boy drops into the 12th floor hoping for a chill normal run so the feds finally get off his back. He thinks his psycho summon is actually going to listen and take it slow this time. But despite bundling up in his goofy safety gear, the icy biome hits him like a truck and he starts shivering violently. The assassin takes one look at his master's runny nose and absolutely loses his mind. Convinced that the common cold is a terminal illness, he completely ignores our boy's orders to take it easy. He goes full tryhard mode and blitzes through the ice weasels at max speed to get his master back to a heater. Our boy can only stand there crying and begging for obedience while his summon slaughters the entire ecosystem. And just like that, another S++ rank is in the bag. Back in the real world, the suit guy is having a heart attack on the phone, completely baffled that our boy just speedran another floor. Our boy tries to play it cool and claims the next floor will totally be harder. Back in his apartment, the assassin is just happy his master is warm and tries to go watch some TV. But our boy is feeling incredibly petty. He instantly unsummons the guy mid-sentence, declaring that disobedient summons do not get any soup tonight. Moving right along to the 13th floor, they are greeted by a massive hallway filled with swinging axes and fire traps. The assassin takes one look at the hazard pay required for this and decides there are way too many variables. He scoops our boy up like a football and just sprints through the entire death trap at top speed. The 13th and 14th floors get absolutely speedrun. Cossack turns the eyeball bats into a literal light show. Our boy just accepts his fate as the system blasts out back-to-back S++ announcements. He decides to just let Jesus take the wheel. Checking his bank app, he realizes he just bagged over 7 million won in 2 weeks. The math starts mathing in his head. If he hits the 20th floor and lets the management department handle the sales, he is going to be swimming in cash. The part-time job life is officially in the rearview mirror. He summons his favorite psycho back to the apartment. Cossack immediately hits the deck. He kisses the floor and begs to know why he got a perfect 5-star rating after completely ignoring orders. Our boy just sighs and runs the numbers. If they crush the 15th floor with another perfect score, that makes 15 platinum badges total. The greed starts kicking in. More badges mean more broken perks, and he is all about that overpowered life. He hypes up his assassin and they teleport straight back into the grind. The system drops them into a forest zone with a bounty for 20 goblin workers. Cossack does not even hesitate. He instantly goes to work and slices the green dudes into ribbons before they even know what hit them. Our boy and his psycho summon drop into the 15th floor and immediately spot a pack of goblin workers. The summoner notes these ugly little dudes actually have some brain cells, making them super annoying to deal with. The assassin warns him to stay hidden since one runner means a whole horde of backup, promising to wipe them all out in one go. The red-haired maniac pops a glowing blue stealth skill, looking like a literal ghost. Our boy watches from the sidelines, already drooling over the idea of copying that sweet move for himself later. The assassin goes full blender mode. He zips through the trees and starts popping goblin heads off their shoulders before they even realize they are dead. The summoner is absolutely stunned by the sheer speed of this massacre. The system chimes in with the good news. Mission complete, level up, and a fat stack of loot including mana stones and healing potions. Plus, he bags another SS++ rank and his 15th shiny platinum badge. A massive pillar of blue light beams them right back to his apartment. Our boy is grinning from ear to ear as he swipes open his inventory screen, ready to cash in on his hard-earned milestone rewards. Back in his room, our boy flexes his hard-earned loot. He summons all 15 platinum badges into the air like a total boss. Right on cue, the system hits him with the good stuff. A shiny new notification pops up awarding him a special perk for hitting the 15 badge milestone. He is absolutely hyped. He remembers getting a sweet skill copy perk at 10 badges, so he is practically drooling over what overpowered cheat code the system is about to hand him next. Our boy finally hits the 15 platinum badge milestone, and the system blesses him with a shiny new perk. It drops an energy barrier kit straight into his inventory, manifesting as a slick golden ring. He slaps the bling onto his wrist and checks the specs. It is a damage-absorbing shield that scales with his level and goes on a 5-hour cooldown once it breaks. He fires it up and a full-body holographic armor wraps around him. The best part is that it is not locked to the tower, meaning he can flex this bad boy in the real world. His broke gamer brain immediately calculates the street value, wondering if he could pawn the gold band for a cool 2 or 3 billion won. But he quickly snaps out of it, realizing the loot only gets crazier the higher they climb. He asks his psycho assassin summon if they can speedrun floor 16 right away. Cossack casually munches on some snacks and says it is possible, leaving our boy to greedily debate if he should just sell the bracelet anyway. Meanwhile, over at the Awakening Management Department, the suits are stressing out. It has been exactly 15 days since the last Global S rank announcement dropped. The bald director slams his desk in pure agony, crying over the fact that the heavens wasted such god-tier talent on a player who is too scared to push past the 15th floor. But the team leader chimes in, pointing out that their mystery VIP has not actually given up yet. Back at the agency, a desk jockey drops the news that our boy is heading their way. The bald director suddenly has a massive epiphany. He realizes our timid hero has been grinding the 15th floor on repeat just to scrape together enough cash for some basic gear. The suit slams his desk. He feels like an absolute idiot for almost criticizing the guy's hustle when he should have been rolling out the red carpet. Cut back to the tower where our boy is chilling inside a massive blue energy barrier. He wants to test out his shiny new defensive perk, so he lifts his shirt and casually asks his psychotic assassin summon to stab him. The red-haired killer absolutely loses his mind. He begs his master to just beat him to death or break his arm instead of making him commit treason. Our boy tries to explain he just needs to check if the barrier works, but the assassin goes full toddler mode. He covers his ears and violently shakes his head to block out the intrusive thoughts. Tired of the whining, our boy just grabs the guy's hand and plunges the dagger into his own stomach. The assassin's soul straight up leaves his body. Our boy quickly pours a health potion over the wound while his summon has a complete mental breakdown. The killer threatens to chop off his own arm as punishment for the accidental stabbing. He grabs his master by the shoulders and furiously demands he never pull a stunt like that again. Our boy awkwardly agrees to the terms. With the safety check out of the way, he sends his overprotective bodyguard back to work. The assassin immediately locks in and starts speedrunning the forest. He zips through the trees and obliterates every monster in sight with absolute zero chill. Cossack is off doing his speedrun thing, clearing the forest in under 10 minutes flat. Our boy decides he shouldn't just sit around twiddling his thumbs while his psycho bodyguard does all the heavy lifting. He decides to test drive his newly copied Shadow Step skill. He activates the skill and instantly zooms forward like he just hit a Mario Kart boost pad. Leaving a literal after-image behind him, he realizes exactly why Cossack told him to learn this move first. He is practically flying through the air with zero effort. Our cowardly protagonist notes that this is the absolute perfect skill for running away from his problems. But his joyride gets cut short when he stumbles into a bush and comes face to face with a screeching green goblin. The little freak was probably hiding from Cossack's murder spree. Our boy completely freezes up in pure panic. The goblin lunges right for his throat, but his brand new energy barrier automatically kicks in and blocks the bite. Realizing he is basically invincible right now, he gets a sudden burst of courage and punts the little green menace right into the air. Right on cue, his overprotective assassin materializes out of thin air to intercept the target. Cossack slices the goblin into ribbons mid-flight, cheerfully thanking his master for the alley-oop. Our boy gets caught off guard, but his loyal assassin instantly swoops in to catch him mid-flight. Cossack frantically pats him down for even a single scratch. Then he goes full overprotective dad mode, intensely scolding his master for being too reckless and flying too close to the sun. After 2 straight weeks of grinding the 15th floor, our wimp finally gets the hang of his new skills and racks up a massive haul of mana stones. Ready to cash out, he gets a call from the shop rep who insists on sending a ride. Our boy tries to decline, but next thing he knows, a massive luxury limo pulls up to his curb. He awkwardly steps out to a warm welcome from the suit guy, sweating bullets as he realizes he is getting the absolute VIP treatment. After scanning his handprint at the entrance, the suit guy offers him a personal tour. But our extreme introvert politely declines, preferring to just browse the luxurious player shop all by his lonesome. Our boy steps into the ultra-luxurious player shop and immediately notices it is completely dead. He figures the prices must be astronomical to keep the riffraff out, so he decides to just dump his mana stones and dip. The clerk weighs his haul at a solid 22.5 kilos, and our boy asks if he can spend that cash right this second. Shopping is a massive drag for this introvert, so he just wants to grab some gear and go home. Little does he know, the Awakening Management Director is pulling some serious strings behind the scenes. The bald boss checks in with the suit guy to make sure our boy is shopping comfortably. Turns out, they literally shut down the entire store to other players just to give him a private session. Back at his rooftop apartment, our boy is admiring his brand new adamant mace and basilisk leather boots. But the math ain't mathing. He snagged the mace for a measly 2 million won, even though starter gear usually runs for at least 20 to 30 mil. Add in the fact that the team leader personally greeted him, and our boy starts sweating bullets. He knows he is getting the VIP treatment, and in his mind, nothing in this world is ever truly free, even if those boots are looking pretty fresh. He justifies the random boot purchase by reminding himself about his new energy barrier perk. Since it unifies all his defense stats, he can just wear whatever he wants as armor. He promised himself he wouldn't get greedy when he started climbing the tower, but these system perks are starting to look way too tasty to pass up. The next day rolls around and he brings out his favorite psychopath via designated summon. The red-haired assassin drops in with a salute, eager to know if they are grinding floor 15 again. But our boy has a different plan. He breaks into a nervous sweat and drops the bombshell. His random summon cooldown is finally over. The room instantly floods with a blinding purple light as the random summon finally kicks in. A glowing humanoid figure materializes right in the middle of the living room while our guy and his assassin just stare in awe. But before the summoner can even celebrate his new pull, the glowing entity starts rapidly expanding. He realizes something is horribly wrong just a second too late. The massive giant bursts straight through the ceiling of his apartment with a deafening crash. Our boy stares up in absolute horror, completely terrified of whatever the heck he just brought into the world. But honestly, he is way more devastated about the fact that he is definitely not getting his security deposit back. The random summon goes off and a massive glowing purple foot stomps right into the living room. A giant tattooed warrior with glowing red eyes bursts through the ceiling. Our boy is absolutely terrified and thinks he just pulled a literal monster. But before the dust can even settle, his mad assassin drops from above and starts furiously drop-kicking the giant right in the face. Our boy is just standing there confused and wondering if these two have some kind of beef. The giant does not even flinch. He just stares blankly and says the kicks tickle. This completely triggers the assassin, who immediately draws his daggers and promises to chop the big guy's head off and tie a pretty little ribbon around it. Our boy screams at them to stop before they completely demolish his apartment. He is already crying over the repair bills for his broken ceiling and begs his psycho assassin to stand down. The assassin warns him that this new summon is famously stupid and probably does not even know the basic rules of being a summon. The giant starts sweating and tries to prove him wrong, but ends up stuttering out complete gibberish instead of the actual 3 principles. The mad assassin immediately points his blade at the new guy and demands they kill him to trigger a 100-day summon cooldown. Our boy is shocked that is even a rule, but checks the system window anyway. Turns out he pulled an R-rank dull barbarian meat shield. It is literally the lowest ranks possible, and our boy is incredibly disappointed. Putting on his best interviewer persona, he tries to get some basic info out of the giant, but the big guy literally remembers nothing. Before our boy can even process this absolute brick of a summon, he gets violently yanked into a memory spirmisny sequence just like he did with his assassin. He falls through a portal and lands right in the middle of a lush green meadow. The giant lands with a heavy thud and immediately starts admiring the pretty butterflies. The system explains he is a pure being from the Great Plains tribe who just loves nature. But purity aside, his physical stats are absolutely cracked. When a pack of giant wolves tries to jump him, he just smiles and casually crushes their skulls with his bare hands, thinking they just want to play. Unfortunately, being built like a tank with 0 brain cells makes you the perfect target for scumbags. A sinister blonde knight named Arius approaches the giant, who cannot even remember his own name. The system reveals this fake hero completely manipulated the pure-hearted barbarian, using him as a literal meat shield against a massive hydra, while he and his party just stood back and laughed. The system reveals the giant's tragic past. He fought a massive hydra with his bare hands to protect his squad, but got melted down to the bone by acid breath while his so-called comrades just laughed. Our boy watches the memory unfold and actually sheds a tear for the big guy. He decides he does not care if the giant has a room temperature IQ. Snapping back to reality, he welcomes the massive warrior to the team with a tiny handshake. He gives the guy 2 naming options, Barber or Meatball. The giant happily accepts Meatball, and our summoner promises to treat him right. He turns to his psycho assassin and declares they are all comrades now. The red-haired killer looks absolutely disgusted for a second before his brain does the math. He realizes a giant meat shield is actually the perfect tool to keep his master safe. He instantly agrees to train the big guy, and they immediately queue up for the 16th floor. The assassin starts kicking Meatball in the shins for copying his catchphrases, cementing the most chaotic trio in the tower. The system chimes in as they teleport into the new zone. Their physical abilities and combat skills are fully unlocked and scaled to their level. The mission pops up, giving them 5 hours to hunt down 30 goblin scouts in a pitch-black forest. If they die or run away, it is an instant failure. The trio steps into the dark forest of the 16th floor. The mad assassin warns our boy to keep his energy barrier up and be ready to use Shadow Step, since the local goblin scouts love their poison darts. Right on cue, a blowpipe peeks out from the canopy and fires a dart straight at our summoner's dome. But the assassin is way too fast and casually swats it out of the air before it can even scratch him. Suddenly, the trees absolutely erupt with green dudes. It is a full-blown ambush. The red-haired psycho goes into overdrive, deflecting a literal rain of poison darts with his twin daggers while yelling that he has got the defense covered. Our boy dives behind a nearby rock to save his own skin and quickly realizes the system totally lied about the numbers. There are way more than 50 of these ugly little snipers waiting for them. Panicking behind his cover, our boy screams at his new giant summon to get up front and act like the meat shield he was born to be. The big guy's eyes instantly glow red as he takes the command to heart. He steps forward and slams his massive foot into the dirt with the force of a meteor. A blinding pillar of pure energy shoots into the sky, completely startling the goblin horde. The assassin is still busy playing Fruit Ninja with the incoming darts when a massive shadow suddenly eclipses the sun right behind him. Before he can even process what is happening, the giant's shockwave absolutely detonates the entire forest. The blast radius is so ridiculous it sends the entire goblin army and the assassin flying through the air like absolute ragdolls. The shockwave sends the little green guys flying. Our boy peeks from behind his rock cover, absolutely floored by the sheer physical dominance on display. The remaining goblins start sweating bullets but keep puffing away at their blowpipes. A literal rain of poison darts comes down, but they just bounce harmlessly off the giant's thick skin. The big guy just stands there, completely unfazed, declaring that their little needle pricks just tickle. We get a quick glimpse of the absolute massacre this guy is capable of, tearing through enemies like wet tissue paper. Our summoner is left speechless, wondering how on earth this walking natural disaster is only classified as a rare rank. He has to be low rank, just because he is dumb. Cut to later, and the giant is happily stuffing his face with fried chicken, calling it kitchen and declaring it delicious. Our boy praises him for his hard work, but the peace does not last long. The mad assassin suddenly drop-kicks the giant right in the face, screaming at him to pronounce chicken right and to stop hogging it all. Our boy just sighs, wishing his two overpowered summons could just get along for 5 minutes. The giant ignores the kick and tells our boy that he is a good person. He promises that since he was fed kitchen, he will give his life to protect him. Our boy is genuinely touched, thinking a bucket of chicken is a small price to pay for a loyal meat shield. But the wholesome moment is instantly ruined when the assassin comes flying back in for round 2, leaving our boy absolutely terrified of his own team. The next day, our boy is just trying to enjoy a touching moment with his new giant buddy over some fried chicken, but the mad assassin ruins the vibe by screaming at the big guy for hogging all the food. After that little domestic dispute, they teleport straight into the 17th floor of the Black Tower. The system hits our boy with the usual buffs, enhancing his physical stats and unlocking his skills. Hitting level 17 has our boy feeling himself a little too much. He flexes his noodle arms, feeling an uncontrollable surge of power coursing through his veins. He even imagines his inner wild horse waking up ready to throw some hands. But his summons quickly humble him. The assassin and the giant step right in front of him, telling the summoner to stay in the back if he wants to keep breathing. The system drops the mission objective to eliminate 30 goblin warriors, but as they look ahead, they see a massive army of these green dudes marching through the fire. Our boy starts sweating bullets. Seeing them in person is way more intimidating than reading about it. He counts at least 90 of them and remembers these monsters actually use strategy and tactics. The standard playbook says to retreat to the safe zone, wait for them to scatter into small patrols, and then lure them out 3 at a time. It is a slow and tedious grind. But our boy is done playing it safe. He calls out to his new giant meat shield with a confident smirk. The big guy roars and shatters the ground with his raw power. With this absolute unit on his team, our boy knows he can easily steamroll his way to the 20th floor and beyond. He points his finger forward with a cocky grin and gives the order to wipe them all out. He is already drooling over whatever broken perk the system is going to hand him next. The system chimes in with the 17th floor mission. Eliminate 30 goblin warriors. Right on cue, a massive army of the little green dudes marches through the flames ready for a scrap. But our boy is not sweating it. He just points his finger like a mob boss and orders his giant tattooed meathead to wipe them all out. The barbarian roars as a beam of light juices him up. He charges straight into the goblin front line like an absolute unit while the green runts try to act tough. The goblins set up a spear wall, but it is completely useless. The giant plows right through their defenses and sends bodies flying everywhere in a massive explosion of brute force. He just keeps stomping through the horde. Goblins are getting crushed underfoot and their weapons are snapping like twigs. Our summoner watches the absolute massacre with a huge grin. He realizes that strategy and tactics do not matter when the weight classes are this mismatched. It is literally like watching a military tank blast through a swarm of rental bikes. The system chimes with another S++ rank and a shiny platinum badge for clearing the 17th floor. Our boy is pretty impressed with the results, but his assassin summon is absolutely flabbergasted by the giant barbarian's sheer brutality. Moving right along to floor 18, the system drops a new mission to wipe out 30 goblin assassins. Our summoner points the way and sends his massive meat shield charging straight into the dark forest. But these aren't your average green grunts. The goblins pop their stealth skills and vanish into thin air. The giant slams his fist down on absolutely nothing and looks around like a confused toddler. Our boy sweats a little, realizing this floor actually requires some brain cells, while his barbarian just swings wildly at the wind, calling them all cowards. That is exactly the cue the mad assassin was waiting for. He steps up with a massive grin, mocking the giant's ignorant brute force strategy. Promising to purify his master's eyes with some actual class, the red-haired psycho pops his shadow step skill. He brags that their stealth is absolute garbage before zipping through the forest and turning the invisible goblins into a flashy meat grinder. The kill count ticks up to 7 and our boy realizes his master plan is working flawlessly. He totally baited his summons into a massive ego battle. The assassin is sweating because the giant barbarian has been stealing his spotlight lately, so now they are both fighting tooth and nail to clear the floor faster. Pitting your overpowered minions against each other to do all the heavy lifting is peak management material. But our guy isn't just going to sit back and watch. He grips his shiny new mace and decides it is time to unleash his ultimate hidden technique. He activates Wild Horse Release and literally turns his head into a majestic stallion. He did his homework before entering the 18th floor and knows exactly how to handle these mobs. The goblin assassins have garbage tier stealth, so if he just focuses, he can spot their translucent blue outlines sneaking around the trees. He hypes himself up, ready to use the Shadow Step skill he spent 2 weeks grinding. He dashes in for the stealth kill, but immediately trips over his own 2 feet. He completely loses his balance and flails his mace around like a madman, which accidentally caves the goblin's skull in anyway. Task failed successfully and the kill count bumps up to 10. Our boy stands over his accidental kill, trying to play it cool like he totally meant to do that. But his little victory lap gets cut short when another goblin drops from the ceiling. Meanwhile, his psycho assassin is having the time of his life dicing up these stealthy mobs. He racks up the kill count and gets ready to bag the last 3. Before he can secure the final kills, the giant barbarian crashes the party, raining down massive fists and stealing the spotlight. The assassin is absolutely pissed, telling the big guy to back off and stop kill stealing. Then he realizes he completely lost track of his master. Back with our boy, he just barely survives a sneak attack thanks to his shiny new energy barrier. But he is not out of the woods yet, as a whole squad of assassins drops in for a surprise gank. But just as he thinks he is in the clear, a whole squad of goblin assassins drops from the canopy. Our boy leaps into action with his glowing mace and that shiny new energy barrier, putting in the work. Suddenly his eyes glow and he enters a total flow state. Time literally slows down for him. He channels his inner anime protagonist and unleashes a massive red energy slash that completely obliterates the ambushers in one clean sweep. The system immediately chimes in to validate his absolute carry job. He secures yet another S++ rank for the 18th floor and bags himself another shiny platinum badge. Meanwhile, his psycho assassin summon comes sprinting through the woods yelling for his master. He is totally convinced he secured the final kill. But the moment he sees our boy casually checking the clear screen, he drops to his knees in absolute despair. The giant barbarian just stands there wondering if they are getting fried chicken later. Back in the real world, the Awakening department is absolutely losing their minds over the global announcement. The bald director slams his desk in pure hype, declaring our boy an unstoppable force. The team leader insists they need to treat him with more care than their top elite squads. And just like that, the news networks are already broadcasting his unprecedented 18 consecutive S++ clears to the entire nation. The assassin isn't popping champagne though. He looks our boy dead in the eye and drops a reality check. His talent is blooming way too fast. The summoner tries to wave it off as a bad joke, but the red-haired psycho just hits him with the ultimate deadpan stare. He brings up that flawless shadow step from earlier. If our guy starts thinking combat is actually fun, he is going to get cocky and catch a stray. The assassin grabs him by the shoulders and screams their golden rule: safety first and absolute self-preservation. Our boy sweats bullets and promises he will stick to the safe route. But the assassin is already having a full-blown meltdown. He clutches his head and absolutely bawls his eyes out, totally convinced his master is destined to get himself killed. Our boy's assassin summon is having a full-blown meltdown. He is crying that his master is definitely going to get himself killed one day. The giant barbarian just laughs at the dramatic display and calls him a moron, but that just earns him a swift kick to the face. The assassin threatens to boil him alive and sends the massive dude crashing straight into the kitchen. Our summoner absolutely loses his mind as his precious fridge takes the hit. He immediately unsummons the chaotic duo and screams at them to stop destroying his apartment. But the real tragedy has already struck. He falls to his knees and weeps over a spilled container of his mom's homemade kimchi. Rest in peace to the spicy cabbage. Needing to clear his head after the kimchi incident, our guy decides to pay a visit to his parents' place the next morning. He heads up the stairs of their apartment building and casually announces his arrival as he steps inside. His mom warmly welcomes him home. His dad is laid up in a hospital bed right in the living room and immediately starts nagging him for not visiting enough. His mom quickly shuts that down and tells the old man to give the busy kid a break. Our boy checks on his dad's busted hip joint and helps him up. He asks where his younger brother ran off to and finds out the kid is just on a tofu run. Soon enough, a bubbling pot of delicious stew is set on the table and the whole family digs in. His dad mentions that things are a bit tight right now, but tells our guy not to worry since his mom will find a new job soon. His brother chimes in too and tells him to just focus on his own life and not stress about them. Our boy is having a nice family dinner and decides to test the waters. He drops the bomb that he is entering the tower, but his dad and brother just burst out laughing, thinking it is the funniest joke he has ever told. His mom asks if he is heading to work. Juyuk tries to play it cool and says it is his day off, even though he quit everything a while ago. But his mom immediately calls his bluff, saying his face is an open book when he lies. She then drops a stern warning to absolutely never use loan sharks. This instantly triggers Juyuk's PTSD, flashing back to the news report of the decapitated loan sharks his psycho summon decorated with cute little bows. His mom then casually mentions she lost her job because she refused to be a maid for a rude customer who wanted her to take out their trash. Turns out his dad's greatest achievement in life was bagging his badass mom, passing down his pure beta male energy to Juyuk and his brother. Juyuk decides to table the awakening talk for now. Outside, he hands his younger brother a fat envelope of cash for their parents, but before he can walk away feeling like a total boss, his brother calls out to him. Our boy assumes his little bro is just feeling shy about the tuition money he dropped earlier. He gives him a warm and understanding pat on the shoulder, but nah. The kid is just blushing because he wants his own cut of the allowance money. Annoyed, our guy transfers him 500 grand and tells him not to blow it on stupid stuff. After that family visit, our summoner is feeling motivated to take this tower climbing gig seriously. He pulls up to the Awakening Management Department building. He decides to just walk right into the player shop without calling ahead like the manager asked. What could go wrong? Knowing the monsters are only going to get beefier the higher he climbs, he figures his energy barrier will not cut it forever. He needs a physical shield. He spots a shiny golden one in a display case. But the shop lady hits him with a casual 100 million won price tag. This sends our boy into absolute shock. Sweating bullets and struggling to talk to a pretty girl, he stammers that it is way too expensive. The employee quickly pivots. She pulls out a smaller round hand shield made of an adamantium alloy. Our guy tries it on and instantly falls in love with the fit. Blushing, he asks for the damage. She rings him up for a cool 40 million won. The assassin is still traumatized by his last master and warns our boy that his former summoner promised the exact same thing. But our boy proudly declares that he is a massive wimp and will absolutely tap out the second things get spicy. The assassin grabs his hands and makes him swear to sacrifice the giant barbarian instead of him if push comes to shove. Suddenly, the assassin sniffs the air like a bloodhound. Our boy reveals a fresh plate of king dumplings he bought just to show his loyalty. The assassin is deeply touched that he got fed before the meatball and happily digs in. He asks if our boy holds any grudges, but our boy just stuffs his face with a dumpling and mumbles a very guilty denial. Their little dinner date is cut short when the assassin senses someone outside the door radiating pure killing intent. Our boy completely panics at the words killing intent. He instantly pops his energy barrier while ordering his summon to hide in the shadows. A bullet suddenly rips through the door and bounces harmlessly off the floor right in front of him. A silhouetted figure steps into the apartment holding a smoking gun and casually says hello. Our boy looks up in absolute shock as he realizes the intruder is the exact same friendly player he just met at the shop. The friendly neighborhood shop bro completely drops the act. He flashes a psycho grin, waving a silenced pistol and bragging about how hard it was to tail our boy all the way home. He demands the loot right now. Hand over the inventory bracelet or he turns our wimp's head into a literal beehive. Our boy freezes with cold steel pressed right against his forehead, but that panic quickly shifts into pure pity. Because pointing a weapon at this specific summoner? Yeah, that is basically a speedrun to the afterlife. The mugger screams at him to take it seriously, completely oblivious to the terrifying mad assassin materializing right behind him with a very sharp knife and absolutely zero chill. The armed stalker corners our boy in his kitchen and starts gloating. He figures a total loser like this will cough up his entire inventory after a single smack to the face. But right as he raises his pistol to deliver the blow, a glowing blue aura flares up right behind him. Cossack brings the heavy pommel of his dagger crashing down onto the intruder's skull. The guy barely has time to realize there is a second person in the room before his brain rattles inside his skull and he faceplants straight into the floorboards. Our boy blinks in surprise before his eyes literally sparkle with pride. He showers his assassin with praise for actually just knocking the guy out, instead of instantly decapitating him like a total psychopath. Cossack sweats a little and promises he would never do something so barbaric without permission. Staring down at the unconscious body, our summoner realizes this guy has to be an item broker. He suddenly remembers the suit guy from the association warning him that players are basically just squishy civilians the second they step outside the tower. Without the elite team's personal protection detail, he is a sitting duck for criminals looking to score some free loot. His legs start shaking as the terrifying reality sets in. If he had not awakened a completely broken skill that lets him summon his bodyguards in the real world, he would be lying dead in a pool of his own blood right now. He realizes all over again that his ability is an absolute cheat code while Cossack casually starts tying a cute red ribbon around the unconscious stalker. The Psycho Summon offers to take out the trash permanently, but our boy shuts that down fast and decides to just call the cops. Meanwhile, over at the agency, the bald director is losing his mind hearing that their VIP player hit the shop again. The suit guy wonders what he bought, and they immediately pull up a concept sketch, assuming our boy is some hardcore melee tank since he bought a mace and a shield. But before they can plan out his armor set, the suit guy gets a call from the police task force. 1 second on the line and his face drops. He completely panics and speeds through the city streets like a madman. He sprints up the stairs to the apartment sweating bullets and cursing himself for not forcing the elite protection contract on our boy from the start. Back at the apartment, the cops are already slapping cuffs on the intruder for aggravated robbery. But this absolute rat immediately starts playing the victim card and screams that our boy actually kidnapped him. Ju-Yuk instantly starts sweating and stutters out a defense while his brain immediately jumps to the worst-case scenario. He is already picturing himself rotting in a cell and writing a loser guide to prison life. Just before the cops can drag him away, the suit guy bursts through the door like a superhero. The rat on the floor instantly lights up and calls out to him, thinking his buddy from the agency is about to save his skin. The suit guy steps into the apartment and the gunman immediately drops to his knees in relief. He thinks the department is here to save him from the crazy assassin. But instead of a rescue, he gets a massive backhand straight to the face. The dude hits the floor bleeding and completely confused. The team leader furiously asks if he really just tried to kill a fellow player. The robber stammers that he is the actual victim here, but just gets slapped again for his trouble. Our boy watches in absolute shock as the suit guy instantly cancels the robber's player registration. The guy tries to flex his level 34 status, but the team leader completely ignores him. He casually mentions that the NIS will be here soon to pick him up. The robber's face goes pale with pure terror since the NIS is famous for torturing rogue players. He desperately slams his head on the floor begging for mercy, but the suit guy coldly calls him a repeat offender and promises that absolutely no lawyer will touch his case. The trash is dragged away screaming while the officers are ordered to keep him locked down so he cannot escape into the tower. With the garbage taken out, the team leader turns to our boy with a terrifyingly intense glare and asks if he is hurt anywhere. Ju-Yuk is sweating bullets and stammers that he was just a little surprised. Suddenly, the suit guy drops into a deep 90-degree bow. He apologizes profusely and swears to make sure this never happens again. In his head, he realizes he cannot delay the elite contract any longer and vows to protect his golden goose at all costs. Meanwhile, our boy is just happy the cops took the guy away before his psycho summon could actually murder him. Up on the roof, our boy thanks his psycho assassin for helping get the home invader arrested. But Kosak immediately asks if the guy got the death penalty and tries to pull a glowing dagger to go find the detention center. Ju-Yuk has to shut that down real quick before his summon catches a murder charge. He swaps out his roster and summons his giant barbarian meatball, who is absolutely mesmerized by the night sky. The big guy starts counting the stars on his fingers like a toddler. With the squad assembled, they warp straight into the 19th floor of the Black Tower. The mission is to wipe out 30 goblin shamans. Our boy is completely unbothered since these magic casters are basically glass cannons with zero impressive attack spells. Meatball charges right in. The goblins try to jump him with a massive wave of dark curses, but the giant just takes a deep breath and literally screams the magic away. Our boy is sweating bullets watching this absolute brute force method work flawlessly. Kosak dashes past the giant and reminds him of the game plan. They need to clear this floor as fast as humanly possible. Meatball agrees and the two overpowered summons just start speedrunning the entire map. Kosak turns into a blur of blades and starts slicing through the goblin horde like butter. The two summons charge ahead and absolutely slaughter the goblin shamans in their path, leaving nothing but dust and bruised egos. Our boy finally draws his mace and shield, ready to actually contribute for once. But before he can even swing, a system window pops up announcing the 19th floor is already cleared. He just stands there completely dumbfounded while his overprotective bodyguards chill in the background. The red-haired assassin flashes a nervous smile, asking if the speedrun was refreshing. Our guy realizes they literally wiped the map on purpose just so he wouldn't have to lift a finger. Still, the system hands over another S++ rank and a shiny platinum badge, so he really cannot complain. The next day, the trio steps into the 20th floor known as the Talent Evaluator. The assassin immediately starts sweating bullets, warning that this place is packed with every deadly goblin variant imaginable. The giant barbarian chimes in, bluntly telling our summoner to just sit in a safe corner and do absolutely nothing while they handle the heavy lifting. Our boy is just deadpan, completely sick of being treated like a fragile piece of glass. The system drops the mission details, requiring them to wipe out 100 goblins and a massive hobgoblin within 10 hours. With failure meaning literal death, the stakes are high, but our guy is just annoyed he is being benched again. Our boy is absolutely sick of being treated like a fragile piece of glass. His summons are blocking his path and leaving him out of the action yet again. The giant barbarian leaps right into the fray, shouting that he is going to draw all the aggro. And there is plenty of aggro to go around. The horde is stacked with shamans casting nasty red curses, scouts firing off blow darts, and stealthy assassins rushing in for the kill. The red-haired assassin closes his eyes and prepares to wipe the floor with them. But our summoner is not about to just sit back and watch. A blue streak of light suddenly flashes past the giant. Using his high-speed movement skill, our boy literally steps on his own summon's back and launches himself high into the air right toward the goblin army. A massive strike crashes down right behind the barbarian. Our boy smiles in absolute relief, thrilled that he finally managed to get a hit in before his overpowered babysitters could steal the show. But the red-haired psychopath completely loses his mind, screaming in absolute terror that his precious master is actually in danger. Our boy has always been a massive introvert. Even as a toddler, he was getting his toy truck snatched by the neighborhood iPad kids without putting up a single fight. Things only got worse as he grew up. Thanks to his empty wallet, he spent elementary school getting bullied with sticky notes, middle school getting ignored by the League of Legends tryhards, and high school eating lunch completely solo. He was a certified social outcast. He was always terrified of human interaction. But standing in the tower, he has a massive epiphany. Monsters are not people. There is zero social anxiety when you are dealing with literal game mobs. All he has to do is crush them and secure the bag. This sudden burst of confidence absolutely terrifies his overprotective assassin. The red-haired psycho screams in pure panic as a horde of ugly green goblins charges forward. But our boy is locked in. He uses his agility skill to effortlessly flip over a barrage of incoming spears. Glowing with blue energy, he dives straight into the mob to bash a goblin right in its ugly face. Our boy decides he is tired of being carried and charges straight into the goblin horde himself. He starts bashing green skulls left and right with his shield. He is zipping around the battlefield like a blue blur, chaining his movement skills to absolutely style on these mobs. His assassin summon watches in pure shock, sweating bullets as he realizes the kid has already mastered his signature Shadow Walker technique. But the hype train derails when a barrage of red needles rains from the sky. The assassin screams a warning, and our boy barely gets his shield up in time. Thank God for that energy barrier perk, or he would be looking like a human pincushion right about now. The adrenaline wears off instantly, and the sheer terror of being surrounded by monsters finally kicks in. He realizes he definitely got way too carried away and immediately starts sprinting for his life down the cliffside, screaming for his summons to save him. The red-haired assassin yells at him to keep heading for the cliff. The kid agrees while his giant barbarian summon beats his chest in a blind rage, ready to obliterate anything threatening his master. But our boy is burning through his stamina way too fast. He is gasping for air with the goblin army right on his heels, and just when he thinks he can catch a break, he stops dead in his tracks. Our boy charges forward with all the confidence of a main character, but immediately remembers he is built like a wet noodle. He throws up his shield as a barrage of spears rains down and completely panics. Just before he gets turned into a human pincushion, a massive hand blocks the attack. His giant barbarian summon steps up to the plate, and the goblins instantly realize they messed with the wrong squad. The big guy unleashes a devastating lightning-infused punch that absolutely flattens the front line. Not wanting to be outdone, the red-haired assassin drops in from the cliffside with a massive energy blast. The goblin shamans try to cast their little curses, but the assassin just shadow steps right behind them. He slices through the magic casters like butter before they can even blink. Standing in a field of fresh loot, the assassin casually notes that they wiped out all 100 mobs and the boss should be spawning any second. Our summoner is just left sweating bullets in absolute disbelief. He is super grateful he did not die, but he is currently trapped against a rock by his giant summon's massive sweaty belly and deeply regretting his life choices. Our boy is sweating bullets as a massive rumbling shakes the cavern. The final boss of the 20th floor spawns in, revealing itself as a fully evolved hobgoblin ready to throw down. But before the summoner can even blink, his pets go absolutely feral. The assassin launches himself into the stratosphere while the giant barbarian charges headfirst. The big guy tackles the boss, completely palming its ugly green face to lock it in place. The red-haired psycho dives back down like a heat-seeking missile. He tells the barbarian to hold the boss steady before plunging both daggers straight into the hobgoblin's skull. The system instantly chimes in with the clear notification. Our boy levels up and bags 2 kilos of mana stones plus a handful of exclusive healing potions. The assassin casually brushes off the boss kill like it was a light warm-up. Our boy realizes he really should just sit back and let his overpowered summons do all the heavy lifting. He gives them a polite bow of thanks, and his loyal meat shields immediately drop to the dirt to bow right back. The system chimes in with the good news. Our boy just bagged an S+ rank for the 20th floor. He scores another shiny platinum badge and unlocks the 21st floor before dipping out of the tower. Back in the real world, the media is absolutely losing their minds. Breaking news flashes across every screen announcing the new record. The live chat is going crazy trying to guess who this mystery player is. Everyone assumes he is some top-tier elite hiding his identity so other countries do not poach him. Over at the agency, the bald director puts his phone down. The consecutive clears are great, but the spotlight is getting way too hot. The suit guy asks if they should censor the press, but the boss shuts that down instantly. Instead, he pulls out a secret dossier he had his team put together. If they want to keep our boy happy, they need to butter up his family. First up is his dad, who is currently stuck in a hospital bed recovering from an injury. The director plans to slide him right into the best rehabilitation center in the entire country. Next is the younger brother, who is a broke college freshman about to get drafted. They decide to hit him with a full-ride scholarship. Then there is the mom. She recently got fired from her water purifier gig and is currently unemployed. The suit guy leans in and whispers that she is the actual final boss of the household. If they win her over, they secure the ultimate VIP package. The bald director is fully committed to the simp agenda. He orders his team to use every ounce of their authority to pamper our boy's family. Meanwhile, back at the apartment, the food finally arrives. The giant barbarian is literally vibrating with excitement over the delivery. Our boy goes into full panic mode and throws a blanket over his two massive summons so the delivery guy doesn't call the cops on a home invasion. The guy hands over a mountain of black bean noodles and brags about throwing in a single fried dumpling on the house. Our boy is internally roasting this absolute stingy behavior while checking for coupons. He doesn't find any, but it doesn't even matter. He has a whole drawer full of them that he is way too socially anxious to ever actually use. With the coast clear, the boys emerge from their blanket fort. The giant is absolutely mesmerized by the smell of his first ever bowl of noodles. He immediately starts chowing down, but he is literally eating the ceramic plate too. The assassin loses his mind, yelling at him for being an uncultured swine while our boy just lets them bicker. While his summons are busy digesting actual dishware, our boy pulls up his system window. He just hit the milestone of 20 platinum badges, and it is time to collect his loot. He wonders what kind of overpowered perk he is getting this time. The system hits him with a glowing golden random box. Our boy checks his system window and his jaw drops. For hitting that 20 badge milestone, the system hits him with a glowing golden question mark, a literal random box. Time to see if his gacha luck is as good as his summon luck. The system drops a glowing golden random box in his lap, but the loot pool is absolutely massive. Our boy clutches his head in pure agony, completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of RNG garbage he has to sift through. He starts filtering out the mid-tier trash. Basic weapons and armor are an easy skip. He spots a tower jumping ticket but immediately realizes skipping floors means skipping the clear rewards, making the level up rune the obvious superior choice. He also notes a ticket that lets him raid international towers, but keeps scrolling for the real juice. Then he spots the Holy Grail, a grade confirmation summon ticket with a chance for an LSSR rank. He instantly starts daydreaming about pulling a god-tier carry, letting him kick back in a luxury carriage while his summons do all the heavy lifting. With a devious grin, he remembers the box drops 3 items, meaning his gacha addiction is about to be fed. He dramatically pops the first box open, swearing to live a virtuous life if the RNG gods bless him. The suspense builds, but the system hands him a basic 10-kilogram mana stone. Our boy drops to his knees in absolute despair, since he can farm these rocks literally any time. But he quickly wipes his tears, rationalizing that it is still worth a cool 5 million won on the market. Our boy pops open the second box and scores a brand new skill called the Primordial Thunderstaff. He cracks open the final box hoping for a miracle and hits the absolute jackpot. The system hands him a summon grade up rune which literally lets him bump a summon up to the next rarity tier. This is exactly what he wanted. But now he has a massive dilemma on his hands. Does he give it to his psycho assassin or his giant meat shield? They are both equally reliable idiots. He figures he should probably give it to Cossack since they have shared so many bowls of rice together, but then he remembers the giant barbarian definitely eats way more carbs. He decides to pocket the rune for now and give it to Cossack in private later since their firepower is already completely busted anyway. Instead, he shifts his focus to his shiny new attack skill. The Primordial Thunderstaff imbues any blunt weapon with lightning and even levels up as he uses it, leaving our boy absolutely hyped to finally do some damage himself. Our boy realizes he desperately needs an attack skill and instantly acquires the Primordial Thunderstaff. The system unlocks the first form, Soul-Chasing Thunderbolt, and the knowledge gets directly beamed into his brain. Gripping his mace, he decides to take it for a quick test drive right there in his living room. He winds up and swings with all his might, fully expecting to shatter the floorboards. But absolutely nothing happens. He awkwardly scratches his head, realizing that if system skills actually worked in the real world, society would have collapsed into pure chaos a long time ago. His red-haired assassin pauses his meal to ask why his master is suddenly swinging a mace at the air. Our boy proudly flashes a peace sign and brags that he just scored a growth-type attack skill. But instead of being happy for him, the overprotective summon drops his bowl in absolute horror, realizing his squishy master actually plans to fight on the front lines. Before the bowl even hits the floor, the giant barbarian swoops in and snatches up the spilled rice. This instantly snaps the assassin out of his depression and sends him flying at the giant in a blind rage, screaming that it was his last bowl of food. The next day, our boy sits alone and reflects on why his assassin is so paranoid. He knows that as a summoner, his minions are supposed to handle 90% of the combat power, meaning he should technically just sit back and watch. But he also remembers that the previous summoner who owned Cossack in a parallel universe was likely way stronger than him, yet still ended up dead. So the overprotective panic is honestly pretty justified. Our boy knows the red-haired assassin is just worried since the last guy who summoned him ended up super dead, but he is a growing boy who just got a taste of being a real man. He absolutely has to test out his shiny new attack skill. Figuring a little heart-to-heart persuasion will do the trick, he strikes a dramatic pose and summons his 2 bodyguards back to the living room. But the assassin spawns in looking absolutely hollowed out. He spent the entire night stressing over the kid getting an attack skill and warns that while goblins were a joke, the orcs on the next floor are a hard no-go. The giant barbarian suddenly steps up and apologizes in advance for committing a mortal sin. The kid panics thinking he is about to get tied up, but the assassin taps the chalkboard to explain the system rules. Protecting the summoner is the absolute top priority, and it completely overrides any commands the kid gives them. Taking that as his cue, the giant immediately traps our boy in a suffocating bear hug. The assassin smacks the big guy for jumping the gun and explains their foolproof plan. The barbarian will literally just hold the kid like a baby the entire time they are in the tower while the assassin clears the floor solo. Our boy realizes his summons literally unionized against him. Our boy realizes he has to pull out the big guns to convince his overprotective summons to let him fight. He hits the red-haired assassin with his ultimate move, the sad puppy dog eyes attack. He begs for a break, swearing on his life that he won't go charging in alone ever again. The assassin tries to hold his ground but completely folds under the pressure. He agrees to let the kid test out his new skill, but strictly warns that he will step in the second things get even slightly dangerous. Our boy happily takes the deal. The Triso teleports into the 21st floor of the Black Tower, landing in a dark forest. The assassin casually mentions that the orcs here are stupid, but probably still smarter than their giant barbarian teammate. The big guy immediately tries to defend his honor, claiming his brain is definitely bigger than an orc's. Armed with his brand new mace and shield, the kid suggests they do a quick practice run before engaging the enemy. The assassin happily volunteers the barbarian as a literal punching bag, hyping up his massive health pool. The big guy is totally down to get whacked, but our boy completely panics, threatening to just run in alone if they keep treating his summons like crash test dummies. He channels some mana into his weapon, noting that the system already downloaded the skill instructions directly into his brain anyway. He decides it is way less traumatizing to just practice on a real monster instead of his own teammate, and the assassin reluctantly agrees to let him lead the way. The system drops their objective, tasking them with wiping out 30 forest orcs within 4 hours. A squad of massive green brutes immediately spawns in with glowing purple eyes and heavy axes. But before our boy can even take a practice swing, his 2 overprotective bodyguards instantly blitz forward to absolutely demolish the front line. The second the barrier drops, the summons go absolutely feral. The giant barbarian turns a forest orc into a green pancake with a single slam. Meanwhile, the red-haired assassin slices through the horde like a blender on max speed. Our boy watches in pure shock. At this rate, the floor will be cleared before he even gets a swing in. But the assassin knows his master wants to play. He casually pins an orc down and serves it up on a silver platter. The summoner smiles. It is go time. He charges in with a glowing blue aura. The confused orc takes a wild horizontal swing, but our boy easily leaps right over it, leaving the green guy swinging at thin air. Hanging in the air right above his target, he readies his brand new attack. The first form of the soul-chasing thunderbolt is just a simple vertical strike. But when he channels the primordial thunderstaff skill into his mace, it crackles with golden lightning, ready to deliver some serious damage. Our boy positions himself right above the confused green giant and brings down the hammer. He activates the first form of his new skill, soul-chasing thunderbolt. It might just be a basic vertical strike, but with that golden lightning crackling around his mace, it is definitely not weak. He slams the weapon directly into the orc's skull, absolutely crushing it. And just look at that smile. Our boy is absolutely glowing now that he finally gets to do some actual fighting himself, instead of just watching his summons have all the fun. Our boy is finally getting his hands dirty. He brings his mace down hard on a green orc and follows up with a solid shield bash to put the monster in the dirt. Standing over his fresh kill, he flashes a cocky grin. He realizes this whole fighting thing is actually way too easy. When another ugly green dude steps up with an axe, our summoner is totally hyped for round 2. But before he can even swing, a massive foot drops from the sky and flattens the poor mob like a pancake. Juyuk looks up in pure shock to see his 2 overprotective bodyguards glaring daggers at him. They clearly are not happy about him risking his neck for a solo kill. Despite the kill steal, the system chimes in with the good news. He officially clears the 21st floor and bags a level up. He also scores some sweet loot, including mana stones and healing potions. And of course, because his summons are absolutely busted, he secures yet another S++ rank and a shiny new platinum badge. The very next day, he is right back on the grind. He steps onto the 22nd floor and immediately starts caving in the faces of desert orcs to keep his crazy win streak alive. The next day, our boy drops a desert orc and bags another S++ rank on the 22nd floor. The day after that, he caves in a cave orc for the 23rd floor clear. With his psycho assassin and giant meat shield doing the heavy lifting, they are blazing through 1 floor a day. He easily secures the 24th floor with another perfect score. Waking up the next morning, our guy is hyped for the 25th floor. But honestly, only getting to smack 1 mob per floor is starting to feel like a massive tease. Still, he knows he needs to build up some solid trust with his crew for now. While throwing on his pants, he decides it is the perfect time to hand over a little gift. He summons his red-haired assassin, who immediately snaps a glowing salute and asks if they were supposed to be resting today. Our boy casually tosses him a blue stone, saying he just picked it up on the way. The assassin catches it and asks if it is a snack, but then he gets a closer look at the glowing rock and starts sweating bullets. The system pops up revealing it as a highly coveted summon grade up rune. The assassin absolutely loses his mind, screaming about a grade increase and immediately tries to shove the rock into his mouth. Our boy chuckles and asks if he likes it. The assassin is literally vibrating with tears streaming down his face, realizing this will bump him up to an SSR rank. He is completely overwhelmed with emotion. Our boy hands over the upgrade rune and Cossack is literally crying tears of joy. The mad assassin is so hyped to protect his master that he tries to eat the glowing rock right then and there. But since an instant upgrade is apparently super dangerous, he promises to come back later with a sick new look. Instead of actually leaving though, the armored psycho just plops down on the floor to watch some TV. Our boy starts complaining about the price of on-demand movies, but suddenly he freezes. He frantically tells Cossack to flip the channel back. Right there on the national news broadcast is his own mother. She is standing outside a massive corporate headquarters holding a giant protest sign about unfair contract terminations. Our boy is absolutely shook. Turns out his mom was working as a water purifier technician, but the company treated her like absolute garbage. They literally ordered her to take out their recycling on her way out the door. When she refused, they slapped her with a termination notice. The corporate suits just laugh at her one-woman protest, calling it completely useless. But his mom is an absolute unit and vows to run them over if they keep giggling. Just as she is hitting her boiling point, a mysterious guy in a suit walks up and calls her name. A slick guy in a suit approaches her on the street, but our boy's mom is a total fighter. She instantly assumes this corporate stooge is here to sue her on behalf of the water purifier company and starts yelling that she will never back down. The poor guy starts sweating bullets trying to calm her down. He quickly hands over his business card to clear the air. Turns out he is a representative from Park & Kim, literally the #1 law firm in all of Korea. He explains that he is actually here to help her sue the company for free, claiming it is part of their annual charity project for the socially disadvantaged. She is highly suspicious of this random act of kindness, but she figures she has nothing left to lose at this point. She officially hands her defense over to the suit guy, who looks way too thrilled about this whole setup. He immediately snaps his fingers to initiate phase 1 of his master plan. Out of nowhere, a massive horde of reporters and flashing cameras completely surround the bewildered mother. The lawyer just gives her a cheeky thumbs up from behind a lens, telling her to spill the tea and they will just edit it in post. She is left sweating under the spotlight. Cut back to the present, where our boy is absolutely losing his mind in his bedroom. He is clutching his head in pure shame, devastated that his mom was out there fighting a lonely one-woman war while her 2 sons were being completely useless. But then a terrifying realization hits him. How on earth did his broke mom afford the most expensive legal team in the country? Our boy clutches his head in absolute shame. He feels like a completely useless son for letting his mom suffer alone. But then a thought hits him. How on earth did she afford a top-tier law firm? Those guys charge an arm and a leg just to say hello. His psycho assassin immediately volunteers to go pay the company a visit with his trusty daggers. Our boy quickly shuts that down. He tells him to chill since his mom already secured a decent lawyer. He figures he should at least cover the legal fees. He does some quick math and realizes his mana stone stash is worth a solid 10 million won. If that is not enough, he can always pawn off his energy barrier kit. Right on cue, his phone rings. It is his dad calling to tell him not to worry about a thing. Apparently, the fancy lawyer is working completely pro bono as part of some charity program. And the good news just keeps rolling in. His dad casually mentions that the best hospital in Korea just called him up. They selected him for a fully funded hip rehab program, free treatment and free hospitalization. Our boy hangs up feeling incredibly suspicious. A free top-tier lawyer and a free luxury hospital stay on the exact same day. That is way too much of a coincidence. Suddenly his phone rings again, and this time it is his little brother. His brother is fired up after seeing their mom on the news. He offers to send over his entire allowance to help with the lawsuit. When our boy asks how he is going to afford his laptop, his brother drops another bombshell. He just scored a massive national scholarship out of nowhere. Our boy gets another call. This time, it is his younger brother bragging about scoring a massive national scholarship straight from the Awakening Management Department. Juyuk sits there staring at his blank TV screen as the gears finally start turning in his head. All these sudden blessings are definitely not a coincidence. He immediately dials up the suit guy from the association and asks to meet somewhere quiet. The team leader happily agrees to pick him up for a little dinner date. Cut to them grilling up some premium beef at a fancy traditional spot. Juyuk lays all his cards on the table. He lists off his mom's top-tier lawyer, his dad's free hospital care, and his brother's random scholarship. The suit guy does not even try to play dumb. He just casually flips a piece of meat and admits he orchestrated the whole thing because it was absolutely necessary. He explains that any family drama would just distract our boy from clearing the tower. Juyuk is sweating now. He points out that this level of VIP sugar daddy treatment is strictly reserved for the ultra-elite team. Before he can even finish his sentence, the team leader slams his hands down on the table and scares the absolute soul out of our boy. He slides over a shiny new ultra-elite contract and flashes a terrifyingly eager smile. He offers to sign him up right here and now. Juyuk just clutches his chest in pure panic and stammers out a confused pardon. The suit guy hits our boy with the hard sell, offering an elite team contract right on the spot. Bong is sweating bullets, thinking this guy came way too prepared. He tries to play the humble card, claiming his talent is basically garbage. But the suit guy isn't buying it. He stands up, looming over our introverted hero, and calls out the nonsense. He points out that playing the weakling card sounds a bit ridiculous coming from a guy who just casually swept 24 floors with consecutive S double plus ranks. Then the guy drops into a full 90-degree bow, practically begging Bong to take the deal. He even brings up that little home invasion incident where our boy had a gun shoved in his face, using it as leverage to push the VIP treatment. Bong is internally groaning. The thought of having bodyguards breathing down his neck 24/7 sounds like an absolute nightmare for an introvert. Plus, the elite contract means mandatory video recording, and he definitely does not want his psychopathic assassin and giant barbarian getting caught on camera doing weird stuff. But then the suit guy drops the ultimate bait. He promises top-tier security for Bong's family and throws in 2 free houses, one for his parents and one for him. Bong's brain short-circuits at the word free real estate. He tries to act like he needs to think about it, but his goofy grin completely gives away that he is already sold. Our boy is completely sold on the free real estate and is literally seconds away from signing his life away to the corporate machine. But right before the ink dries, he pumps the brakes. He tells the sweating suit guy he needs a minute to consult his legal counsel before making any big moves. And by legal counsel, he means his psychotic assassin summon. He pops the upgrade rune he got earlier and completely blinds himself as the system announces a massive rank up. The assassin evolves from super rare to special super rare and immediately starts flexing his new glowing purple drip with a cheeky peace sign. Once the flashbang wears off, our boy admits the new look is actually kind of fire. The assassin immediately starts roasting their giant barbarian teammate for being a low-tier scrub, but our boy cuts him off. He explains the elite contract offer and asks for his honest opinion on whether he should take the deal. The assassin instantly throws his hand up in favor. He hypes our boy up as a national treasure who deserves all the VIP treatment. When our boy worries that joining the elite squad means he will be forced to climb to the 60th floor and beyond, the assassin just gives him a massive thumbs up. But the second our boy suggests he should start training hard to actually help out in fights, the assassin hits him with a hard rejection. He drops a massive lore bomb on his master. A summoner's safety is their true power. He reveals that the waiting room he came from is absolutely packed with legendary tier beings. As long as our boy stays alive and keeps pulling the gacha, he will eventually be able to summon an entire army of literal gods. The assassin hypes up the future. He reveals that the space he came from is packed with legendary beings that will absolutely obey our boy. And if that wasn't crazy enough, he teases that there are even demigod-level monsters waiting in the wings. Our summoner is absolutely stunned. He cannot even fathom commanding something that transcends humanity. The assassin admits they are out of reach for now, but he urges our boy to just stay alive and keep spamming that random summon button. It is his ultimate lethal move after all. The kid does the math. He realizes he gets about 12 pulls a year, maybe more if the loot drops are generous. But of course, it all boils down to his gacha luck. He checks the timer. He still has 19 agonizing days left until his next pull. The assassin then gets serious. He advises our boy to lay down one absolute condition for his new elite contract. He needs full control over when they climb the uncleared upper floors of the tower. Otherwise, every piece of trash in the association will be breathing down his neck to push higher. The assassin dramatically sheds a tear. He clearly has some trauma from his own past experiences. Our boy just smiles. He is amused that his overprotective murder buddy is actually on board with the elite team idea. Right on cue, a system window pops up. It announces the arrival of the dull barbarian meat shield. The giant immediately pledges his absolute obedience to his summoner. Juyuk summons his giant barbarian, but the big guy is acting all high and mighty, refusing to greet just anyone. Kosak isn't having any of that disrespect. He immediately gets in the giant's face, ruthlessly flexing his shiny new SSR status and bullying the poor R rank for being 2 whole grades beneath him. The big guy is sweating bullets, desperately trying to avoid eye contact while muttering that a true warrior only looks forward. Our boy just watches this sad display of hierarchy and makes a mental note to give the big guy the next upgrade rune so he stops getting bullied. The squad then teleports into the 25th floor, where the system tasks them with wiping out 100 orcs and their chieftain within 10 hours. Juyuk figures he can sneakily steal a few kills this time, but Kosak is already stretching out, eager to test drive his new powers. He orders the barbarian to go pull aggro, and the giant happily obliges, charging headfirst into the horde like an absolute unit. Our boy decides to let his summons loose and orders Meatball to pull some aggro. The giant barbarian happily obliges, leaping into the air with a massive roar before slamming down with enough force to send the startled orcs flying like bowling pins. Next up is the newly upgraded SSR Kosak. Juyuk gives the launch order, and the assassin flashes a wicked grin before blasting forward at blinding speed. The sheer force of his dash leaves our boy covering his ears, feeling like a literal fighter jet just blew past him. Kosak dives right into the thick of it, launching a barrage of glowing blue energy blades that skewer the green skins. But he is not done yet. He triggers his blade explosion skill and those little daggers detonate like absolute bazookas, wiping out everything in the blast radius while Juyuk watches in pure awe. The surviving orcs try to fight back, hurling a volley of spears right at the assassin. They manage to skewer him, but instead of blood, he bursts into a puddle of purple liquid. Yeah, they just got juked by a decoy. The orcs are left completely bewildered as a glowing blue silhouette materializes right behind them. The assassin pops up with a cheeky surprise. He triggers his despicable ambush skill and instantly decapitates a whole row of the green grunts with a single fluid strike. He lands gracefully as the severed heads hit the dirt. The surviving orcs are absolutely sweating bullets. The madman just mocks their sour faces and coats his blades with poison. He lets them know the slaughter is just getting started. Our boy realizes his summons are about to hog all the XP again. He panics and triggers his shadow step. He leaps right into the fray to secure at least a few kills for himself. Watching his master dive in, the assassin just smiles like a proud dad. He knows that keeping the summoner safe is the ultimate power move. Our boy grips his newly acquired lightning staff tight. He appreciates the assassin telling him to just sit back and relax, but he refuses to be dead weight. He wants to level up fast so his overprotective summons can finally chill out. Our boy charges in, realizing he cannot just hide behind his psycho assassin forever. He needs to get his own hands dirty and actually level up. He ducks a wild swing from a forest orc and delivers a spinning kick right to its gut. But these green meatheads are built different, and the monster just bounces right back up, glaring with those red eyes. No problem. Our guy channels his new toy, activating the first form of his primordial thunderstaff. He brings down a soul-chasing thunderbolt right on the orc's dome, making it spit up purple blood like a busted juice box. But as one drops, a whole squad of them rushes in. Our boy does not even flinch. He triggers his copied shadow step skill and starts zipping through the air like a glitching speedster, chaining lightning strikes on every ugly mug in sight. And just like that, his eye glows blue as the system hits him with a sweet notification. Suddenly, a system window pops up, announcing he just unlocked the second form of his primordial thunderstaff. Our boy is hyped, realizing he instantly knows how to use it. The orcs charge in, completely confused about what scattered thunder even means. He doesn't keep them waiting long. He calls out the second form and blasts a massive pillar of lightning that splits into 5 branches, completely frying the green dudes. The system confirms the energy splits to strike multiple targets. Our boy is absolutely ecstatic, realizing he just bagged himself a massive AoE attack. Meanwhile, his assassin summon is chilling in the back, wondering if orcs suddenly learned lightning magic. He gets the shock of his life when the blast nearly fries him too, forcing him to aggressively slide out of the danger zone. The assassin immediately starts yelling at him for getting too trigger-happy with his new toy. He reminds our boy they agreed he was only allowed to catch 1 monster per floor. Our wimpy protagonist immediately shrinks back and stammers out an apology. Our boy suddenly realizes he has the dynamic completely backwards. Why is he apologizing to the guys he summoned? He might be a total pushover in the real world, but inside this tower he is an absolute alpha male. The assassin is literally shedding tears over workplace safety protocols, but our guy is completely over it. He demands the boss monster show its face so he can cave its skull in. But the universe has a funny way of answering prayers instantly. A massive orc chieftain spawns directly behind him, radiating pure menace. Our alpha male immediately drops the tough guy act and screams for his bodyguard as a giant axe comes crashing down. The assassin swoops in with a clutch rescue while our boy instantly regrets ignoring the safety briefing. Sweating bullets on the floor, he points at the boss and begs his summons to delete it from existence. The giant green menace growls, but the squad is already on it. The assassin and the barbarian step up to the plate and charge in to protect their fragile master. The assassin gives the green light and our giant barbarian charges right in. He channels a massive surge of golden energy into his arm and literally catches the boss's giant axe mid-swing with his bare hands. The green guy is absolutely flabbergasted. Before he can even process the disrespect, our boy leaps into the air and delivers a devastating double fist slam right to his chest. But they are not done yet. The system announces a despicable ambush skill as our psycho assassin materializes right behind the boss with a terrifying grin. He instantly turns the monster into minced meat with a flurry of glowing blue slashes. And just like that, the 25th floor is officially cleared. Our wimp gets a fat stack of rewards, including a level up and 2.5 kilos of mana stones. He secures yet another S++ rank, which earns him another shiny platinum badge and unlocks the 26th floor. Exiting the tower, our boy gets hit with a system notification. He has officially stacked 25 platinum badges, earning him a shiny new reward. And it is not just any reward, it is an encore perk. He gets to choose between trade enhancement, skill copy, a random item, or summon grade enhancement. He is absolutely hyped by this massive windfall. Without a second thought, he taps the screen. He would be an absolute idiot to pick anything else. His awakening trait gets a massive boost, bumping his simultaneous summon limit up to 3. Counting himself, he is now rocking a full 4-man party. He turns to his current duo to celebrate. He asks what they want for dinner, and the assassin immediately demands tteokbokki. Our boy reminds him he cannot handle spice, but the assassin insists his new SSR rank means his spice wimp days are over. Juyuk just wishes him luck and orders a massive spread of the spicy red death to celebrate their 25th floor clear. Back at the apartment, the boys celebrate with some spicy rice cakes. The giant barbarian chugs the sauce like it is apple juice, claiming it is sweet. The assassin takes one bite to protect his ego and instantly combusts on the floor. The barbarian casually suggests they throw the assassin in the trash and summon a new guy. Our boy just sips his water and decides that since he cleared the 25th floor, it is finally time to come clean to his family. He heads back to his parents' old apartment building and kicks the door open with a premium pack of beef. His mom is absolutely flabbergasted by the meat, while his younger brother immediately asks who he robbed to afford it. His dad tells everyone to chill out and just enjoy the meal. Our boy smiles, feeling super relieved that his secret association perks have already taken care of his parents' medical and legal bills. While they snack on some apples, he casually drops the bomb that he actually awakened as a player. The room goes dead silent for a second before his family completely brushes it off. His dad thinks it is a random prank, and his brother assumes he is talking about a video game. Realizing words are not going to cut it, our boy pulls out his phone to make a quick call. Cut to the very next day outside a massive luxury high-rise. A government suit rolls up in a white stretch limousine to personally inform his parents that their son is a national treasure. The look on their faces is absolutely priceless. Our boy taps his shiny new black card against the scanner. The doors slide open to reveal a massive luxury penthouse. His family stands there completely frozen. Their jaws literally drop to the floor as they take in the giant windows and the sheer flex of their brand new home. Our boy hits up the awakened management department and officially signs his life away on an elite player contract. He is sweating bullets but grinning like an idiot. Life really comes at you fast. The suit across the table actually apologizes that regulations cap his starting salary at a measly 2 billion won. Our guy's brain practically short-circuits at the massive number. He waves it off and explains he chose this low-key path to keep his S++ rank a total secret. If his face gets plastered all over the news, his family will not be able to step outside without a camera shoved in their face. The suit smiles and pivots to ask if the new digs are up to par. Our boy checks his phone and grins at a text from his little brother, raving about how their mom is crying tears of joy over the massive new house. The suit then slides over a tablet showing a fully furnished luxury apartment just for him, ready for immediate move-in. Our guy wonders if life could possibly get any better than this. Meanwhile, across town in the biggest penthouse in Korea, a couple of bikini-clad girls are splashing around in a massive indoor pool. They cozy up to a heavily tattooed guy and call him Oppa. Meanwhile, at the largest penthouse in Seoul, Korea's #1 player is living the absolute dream. He is chilling in his private pool, surrounded by bikini-clad babes and toasting with alcohol that costs 5 million won a glass. But the mood instantly sours when one of the girls brings up the hottest gossip in town. She asks about the mysterious player who just hit 25 consecutive S++ clears, noting that it is all anyone can talk about these days. The top ranker does not take kindly to his spotlight being stolen. He casually pours his expensive drink right over the girl's head, sarcastically telling her to keep blabbering about this measly 25th floor punk. He then drops a terrifying reality check. He asks them what they think will happen if he just stops clearing the 66th floor right now. He drops the bottle, letting it shatter on the floor, and coldly states that the entire country will be utterly destroyed if the tower collapses near a major city. The girl is left trembling in absolute terror, tearfully apologizing for bruising his massive ego. Standing by the window, the ranker grinds his teeth in pure rage. He specifically invited civilians over because player chicks only ever talk about that S++ bastard, but now he cannot even escape the hype in his own home. He rubs his face in frustration, recalling the insane poaching offers he has been getting. China just offered him an annual salary of 180 billion won, complete with a mansion, a private jet, and treatment fit for a king. Meanwhile, Korea's #1 player is absolutely mauling. He is getting massive offers from Japan for 200 billion won and a literal harem of maids, but he stayed loyal to his home country. And how do they repay him? By hyping up some random rookie who just cleared the 25th floor. The disrespect has him seriously considering jumping ship, since the 66th floor is already a total nightmare. The 66th floor is packed with these nasty specters. They are not your average zombies. Just one hit of their demonic energy fries your brain so hard you need a 3-day nap to recover. Even with top-tier support, our guy is barely scraping by, and he is sick of carrying the whole nation on his back. Staring at his reflection, he decides it is time to pack his bags. If he bails, the media will lose their minds, and the Black Tower will literally trigger a collapse countdown. But he does not care anymore. He flashes a totally unhinged villain smile, laughing maniacally, because by the time the timer runs out, he will be chilling in a foreign mansion. He wants the ungrateful citizens to regret their choices in despair as their city turns into a giant crater. But while this guy is plotting the literal apocalypse, our boy is just happily accepting a fried chicken delivery. He is absolutely loving his new luxury apartment life, completely oblivious to the national crisis brewing upstairs. Our boy is absolutely living the dream right now. His new luxury building comes with full-time resident staff handling all his chores and laundry. Plus, the place is completely stacked with every amenity you could ever want. We are talking 24/7 gyms, cafes, PC bangs, and a literal indoor swimming pool. He never has to touch grass again. To celebrate their new digs, he picks up some fried chicken for his summons. They just finished wiping out 20 swamp trolls on the 26th floor. It is usually a brutal environment, but thanks to his copied shadow step skill, he actually managed to bag one of the trolls himself. He bursts into the apartment ready to feast. But his two lethal bodyguards are completely zoned out. They are blushing like absolute schoolgirls and completely ignoring the food. Our boy walks past them totally confused about what could possibly have these two killing machines so captivated. Turns out they are just mesmerized by a K-pop girl group performing on his massive new 100-inch TV. Honestly, he takes one look at the screen and immediately understands. The high-definition idols are just too dazzling to ignore. The giant barbarian crushes a piece of chicken in his massive hand as they finally sit down to eat. Our boy hypes them up and says they are going to speedrun straight to the 29th floor starting tomorrow. The assassin pauses mid-chew and asks why they are stopping right before the big floor 30 milestone. Our boy holds up 4 fingers and drops the big news. His random summon cooldown is almost up, so they are going to tackle the 30th floor as a 4-person party. The assassin instantly lights up at the idea of a new recruit joining the squad. The giant cheers right along with him, but the assassin suddenly has a massive existential crisis. He realizes that if an ultra-rare summon pops out, he might lose his spot as the right-hand man. But he quickly copes by reminding himself that more meat shields just means his master stays safe. Before hitting the next floor, our boy gets a special delivery from the management team. It is a shiny new volcano orc leather coat that literally radiates heat. The suit guy happily hands it over, noting that pampering elite players is just part of the job description. They step onto the 27th floor, which is basically a frozen wasteland, but thanks to his new drip, our summoner is feeling absolutely toasty. He praises the power of pay to win gear while his summons are stuck roughing it in the snow. The giant barbarian is out here looking absolutely confused by the concept of hypothermia. Meanwhile, the supposedly badass assassin is literally turning into a popsicle while stuttering that he can totally just use magic to stay warm. Our boy just sighs, realizing that if the big guy actually had a brain, he would easily be the top-tier summon. Deciding that standing still is a death sentence, the frozen assassin starts aggressively stomping his feet. He suddenly launches himself forward like a madman, screaming that they need to start hunting immediately. The summoner just deadpans that the cold has officially made his right-hand man go completely berserk. Wrapped up in his magical heated blanket of a coat, our boy is feeling way too lazy to actually fight. He figures he should probably go secure at least one kill just to contribute and tells the giant to follow him. But before he can even take a swing, a system window pops up announcing that the floor is already cleared. Before our boy can even throw a single punch, his level suddenly spikes. His psycho assassin proudly announces he speedran the entire floor just to escape the freezing cold. The system showers him with loot, including a massive mana stone and a fancy-sounding paladin captain's holy sword. Plus, he bags his 27th consecutive S double plus rank and another shiny platinum badge without lifting a finger. Our wimp is absolutely hyped to finally get a raw equipment drop instead of just buying his gear. A weapon type, no less. But the excitement dies the second he actually inspects the thing. It is chipped to hell and looks like it belongs in a medieval dumpster. He hefts the massive two-handed blade and realizes it is way too heavy and probably worse than his current mace anyway. Figuring he will just pawn it off for some quick cash later, he tosses it into his inventory and checks the stats. Turns out this rusty piece of junk is actually a highly specialized anti-undead weapon that massively boosts attack power and critical hit rates against zombies and ghosts. Juyuk has this heavy, worn-out holy sword from the last floor, but nobody wants the damn thing. The giant barbarian flexes his fists, claiming real men do not need blades, and the assassin smugly rejects it because he only rocks top-tier wyvern leather and dwarven steel. Left holding the bag, our boy sweats bullets, realizing he has to drag this heavy piece of junk all the way back to the player shop. Figuring he might as well test drive it before tossing it on the marketplace, he decides to give it a single swing. The assassin cheers him on like a proud soccer mom as our wimpy summoner puts his entire back into it. He heaves the massive blade through the air, completely losing his balance and flailing around his living room. 2 swings later and he is absolutely cooked, collapsing over the hilt while panting and drooling like a pug in the summer heat. The assassin claps for his master's pathetic display, completely ignoring the fact that our boy's stamina bar just hit 0. Juyuk groans that his physical stats are hard capped outside the tower, but his edgy summon casually drops a lore bomb. He points out that there actually is a way to bypass those real-world limits. Our boy's eyes light up with hope, completely unaware of the massive catch. The assassin explains that if the boundary between Earth and the Black Tower ever completely shatters, reality itself will merge with the dungeon space. Sure, players would get to keep their god-tier stats in the real world, but it would also trigger an apocalyptic event that turns the entire planet into a monster-infested wasteland. Talk about a monkey's paw situation. Meanwhile, over at the Japanese embassy in Seoul, a shady counselor gets a very interesting phone call. The voice on the line reports that a certain rabbit wants to ditch his old nest and hop on over to a new one. The suit hangs up and lets out a villainous chuckle knowing a massive storm is about to hit the Korean player rankings. 2 days later, our boy checks the Black Tower status board and starts sweating bullets. The top players are stuck on floor 66, and with Cossack dropping hints about an impending apocalypse, if the tower isn't cleared, he is feeling the pressure. But since he cannot exactly speedrun the top floors himself, he decides to just stick to his own lane and keep grinding at his own pace. He boots up the system and locks in for floor 29, chanting his ultimate mantra of safety first. He takes a second to reflect on yesterday's headache of a raid on the 28th floor. The jungle trolls were camping up in giant trees, making it a total nightmare for a solo assassin to handle. Luckily, our boy has a giant barbarian on the payroll now. Meatball literally just punches the massive trunks until the trolls rain down like overripe fruit. Then Cossack just styles on them with his dual blades for a squeaky clean finish. But today's raid is not going to be nearly as hygienic. Our summoner straps on a heavy-duty gas mask because floor 29 is infested with plague trolls. These nasty guys are basically walking biohazards covered in explosive yellow pus, and he is not taking any chances with his immune system. With his PPE secured, he hits the button and designates his 2 favorite meat shields for summoning. Our boy summons his dynamic duo for the 29th floor. Cossack is hyped to show off his shiny new SSR rank, while Meatball just happily adopts the R rank title. The mission is to wipe out 20 plague trolls within 4 hours. Since these trolls are basically walking biohazards covered in pus, our boy comes prepared with a full gas mask. He asks his summons if they want one, but Meatball claims his barbarian immune system is built different, and Cossack says masks just ruin his assassin aesthetic. They charge right into the toxic zone without a second thought. Because they literally do not care about catching diseases, their hunting speed is absolutely cracked. They blitz through the trolls in record time, securing another level up, a fat stack of mana stones, and of course, that sweet S+ platinum badge. The boys are hyped for a celebratory team dinner, but our guy just awkwardly apologizes. Since he just moved into a pristine luxury penthouse, there is zero chance he is letting these 2 plague-covered goons track troll juice all over his new floors. He hits them with the instant unsummon and dips. The next day at the association gym, Korea's rank 2 player Namgaeun is putting in the absolute work. She is currently hard stuck on the 62nd floor of the tower and sweating buckets trying to break past her plateau. The boss blocking her path is a massive dark zombie that corrupts players on contact. Sitting on the bench completely gassed, she wonders if this is her absolute limit, but as an elite player she refuses to tap out, resolving to grind until her body literally breaks. She chugs a massive shaker of protein to fuel the gains and hypes herself up with some aggressive positive energy. But her workout gets interrupted when she spots a bunch of suits sprinting past the glass like the building is on fire. She rushes out into the hall and intercepts Mina to ask what the hell is going on. Mina is sweating bullets and asks if she hasn't checked the news yet. Gaeun looks up at the monitors and her jaw drops. Korea's arrogant rank 1 player Yoo Cheolmin is holding an emergency press conference. He publicly roasts the Korean Association for playing politics and neglecting their elite teams, officially announcing he is jumping ship to become a Japanese player. And watching this broadcast from the sidelines, our boy is absolutely flabbergasted that the nation's top carry just rage quit the server. Suit Guy drops the bomb. He asks our boy how long it would take him to speedrun to the 60th floor. Juyuk does the math. He is currently on floor 29. Assuming he clears a new floor every single day, it would take 37 days to hit floor 66. But with the 90-day deadline and the need to prep for boss fights, it is basically impossible. The team leader hits him with the puppy dog eyes. He apologizes for begging right after they sign the contract, but they are desperate. Juyuk starts sweating. He hates disappointing people, but he refuses to make a promise he cannot keep. Safety first, always. Suddenly the door flies open. A ridiculously fit woman in gym clothes bursts into the office looking for the team leader. This is Namgaeun, the rank 2 player in Korea, and she is stressed. Suit Guy is caught off guard. Meanwhile, our boy instantly turns into a blushing mess. His introverted brain short-circuits, thinking this absolute baddie is actually interested in him. The team leader tries to introduce him, but Juyuk starts stammering like a broken record. He quickly pivots, blurting out that he is just a random freelancer here to sell some loot. Suit Guy gives him a mental thumbs up for the quick save. Juyuk opens his inventory and pulls out the worn-out holy sword he snagged earlier. He heard they were desperate for light attribute gear, so he offers it up for a test drive. The sword might look like garbage, but Gaeun is instantly captivated and asks to inspect it. The athletic girl reaches out to inspect the glowing blue blade. The system window pops up and her jaw practically hits the floor. This thing is a literal cheat code against the undead. It boosts attack power, adds sacred fire, and cranks up the critical hit rate. It is the exact holy grail she needs to clear her impossible boss fight. She stares at the holographic text sweating bullets in absolute disbelief. She has never even heard of an item with these kinds of stacked anti-undead buffs. Losing all sense of personal space, she lunges forward and violently grabs our boy by the shoulders. The Suit Guy panics as the rank 2 player completely loses her cool. She stares deeply into our summoner's eyes and begs him to lend her the sword just this once. Blushing and desperate, she promises she will do absolutely anything he wants if he just hands it over. Our boy is living the absolute dream. He is walking down the aisle with the rank 2 player herself, and they are off to a romantic sunset beach run. It is giving pure K-drama energy. Under the fireworks, he asks about making a honeymoon baby and what to name the kid. She blushes and suggests naming their child Bong Holy Sword. He thinks she is just being quirky and leans in for a smooch. But then he snaps back to reality with the most embarrassing puckered face imaginable. Turns out he was just completely zoning out in his living room while the swordswoman was thanking him for lending her the anti-undead weapon. He is sweating bullets trying to play it cool. Fully armored up and packing the holy sword, she confidently declares she is off to clear the 62nd floor. As she teleports away, our guy just hopes she leaves a 5-star review so he can sell the rusty thing for a premium. He was literally planning to throw it in the trash anyway. Meanwhile, the system welcomes the swordswoman to the 62nd floor. Her stats get a level boost and her combat skills unlock. The mission is simple but brutal. She has 15 hours to wipe out 20 dark zombies. The dark zombie boss drops a massive shadow claw on our swordswoman, trying to crush her with a heavy debuff aura. But right on cue, the Holy Sword's passive kicks in. The blade erupts with a blinding light, completely nullifying the dark magic and leaving the undead freak totally confused. She doesn't waste a single second. She swings the glowing relic upward, slicing right through the monster's defenses. The system immediately starts spamming critical hit notifications as she goes full blender mode on the boss. Realizing the sword is basically a cheat code against this thing, she puts her back into one final swing. The zombie gets absolutely shredded into purple pixels under a barrage of crits. She stands there panting, completely stunned that she just one-shot a monster that had been walling her for weeks. 1 down, 19 to go. Meanwhile, back in the real world, the association suits are sweating bullets. The manager checks his watch, stressing out because it has already been 2 hours since she entered the 62nd floor. Usually if she fails a run, she gets kicked out by now, so the suspense is literally killing him. Suddenly, a blue light flashes and our girl teleports back into the lobby. The manager stutters out a greeting, fully expecting bad news, but she just holds up a finger and aggressively chugs a health potion before dropping the empty bottle on the floor. Gayan returns and Juyuk asks if the rusty old sword actually did the trick. Before he can even finish his sentence, she practically tackles him in a massive bear hug. Our boy is completely blue screen of death right now. His brain instantly short-circuits into full delusion mode. He is already planning their future kids' parent-teacher conferences. But Gayan snaps him back to reality, tearfully confessing that without his holy sword, she would have been absolute zombie chow. The 62nd floor is officially cleared. The suit guy pumps his fists in pure hype, realizing the 66th floor is actually possible now. He shudders just thinking about what would have happened if that traitor Xiaolman had gotten his greasy hands on this loot before defecting to Japan. Meanwhile, our boy is just ascending to heaven, muttering about how he lived a good life, while Gayan frantically apologizes for the surprise glomp. Juyuk checks the blade and notices it took a massive beating. He figures he will just use it a couple more times and toss it in the trash. But the suit guy quickly steps in, promising that their top-tier craftsmen can repair it, and the management department will foot the entire bill. Hearing this, Juyuk casually offers to just sell it to them since they clearly need it for the upper floors. But the suit guy hits him with a massive Uno reverse card. He flashes a sly smile and says they are not going to buy it, they are going to rent it. He points out that there are hundreds of towers all over the globe, and barely any countries have even sniffed the 60th floors yet. Our boy is absolutely flabbergasted. 10 billion won per use? The suit guy casually mentions that the management department's statistics back up this insane rental fee. Juyuk instantly drops his introverted act and hits him with a double thumbs up. He is fully on board the capitalism train. The suit agrees to handle all the annoying rental paperwork on his behalf. Feeling generous with his newfound infinite money glitch, our boy tells him the next floor's rental is on the house. The manager is completely caught off guard by the sudden charity. Back at the penthouse, it is time for a feast. Our boy is boiling up a massive pot of premium pork belly, still riding the high of becoming a holy sword landlord. He plates up a mountain of meat that would make a mukbang YouTuber jealous. His summons are literally in tears over the home-cooked meal. The assassin and the giant barbarian swear their eternal loyalty over some boiled pork. Our boy just flashes a terrifying capitalist smile, telling them to eat up because they just made him filthy rich. Meanwhile, the news is going absolutely crazy. The swordswoman successfully cleared the 62nd floor, and the media is already crowning her as the new national hero. Everyone has completely forgotten about the rank 1 trader who defected to Japan. Thanks to our boy's rental service, Korea's crisis is officially cancelled. 10 days pass with our boy just grinding the 28th floor to avoid the disgusting plague trolls on the next level. But more importantly, his random summon cooldown is finally up. He hits the local bathhouse to scrub away his sins, trims his nails, and throws on some fresh clothes. He is treating this gacha pull like a sacred ritual. 10 days later, our boy is ready for his next gacha pull. He goes through a whole purification ritual to appease the RNG gods. Scrubbing down at the bathhouse, fasting, meditating, and setting out a bowl of tap water from the fridge dispenser because technically it is purified water. The cooldown timer finally hits 0. He claps his hands together and drops to his knees, praying desperately for a top-tier legend super rare unit. The assassin chimes in, hoping they do not get another low-tier meathead like the giant barbarian standing right next to him. The summoner immediately defends his big guy, pointing out how many floors they cleared thanks to his massive health pool. The assassin tries to backtrack, claiming he was just trying to reassure him, but the giant just flashes him the most cursed, wholesome smile ever, completely creeping the assassin out. Enough stalling. Our boy screams out the command and activates his random summon skill, begging the system for a good grade. A massive pillar of purple energy erupts from the floor, blinding the room. The crackling light swirls around as the silhouette of a woman in traditional robes begins to form and touches down gracefully on the floor. A soft voice thanks him for the summon as a gentle smile cuts through the light. The glow fades to reveal a gorgeous maiden in traditional robes kneeling gracefully on the floor. She introduces herself as Gian Dalray and humbly greets her new young master. But when our boy pulls up her stat sheet, the system hits him with the ultimate cliffhanger. Her grade and type are completely blanked out with question marks, leaving him totally clueless if he just pulled a god-tier unit or an absolute dud. The purple light fades and a brand new silhouette drops into the room. It is a woman rocking a full traditional hanbok. She bows gracefully and introduces herself as the maiden Gian Dalray. The system window confirms the pull. She is an SSR-grade human shaman. Our boy just hit the jackpot again. The boys are absolutely stunned. Kosak points out the obvious fact that she is a woman, while our summoner completely panics about how to handle this new dynamic. Dalray wastes no time summoning a glowing blue ritual knife and a set of bells. She swears to pour all her strength into assisting her new master. Juyuk stares in shock as it finally clicks that he just summoned a literal exorcist. But her polite demeanor vanishes instantly. She shoots a lethal glare across the room and points her blade straight at Kosak. She accuses the assassin of staring at her with lecherous eyes and threatens to beat some sense into him. Kosak is completely bewildered and stammers that he was just amazed by the glowing light show. Juyuk sweats bullets and tries to awkwardly excuse himself from the crossfire, but the scary shaman instantly snaps her head back to him with a perfectly sweet smile. This girl has some serious switch-up game. Our boy is sweating bullets because literally none of his summons are normal. But hey, beggars can't be choosers, especially when he checks her stats and realizes he just pulled an SSR grade. She is on the exact same power level as his fully upgraded assassin, and she immediately establishes dominance by glaring daggers at the psycho killer until he sweats. The system catalog reveals her name is Gian Dalray, the strict and solemn chief shaman of the Qian Empire. Curious about what makes her tick, our summoner decides to take a little field trip into her memories. His spirit gets yeeted through a portal and lands right in front of a massive traditional temple gate. To the sound of ringing bells, he learns that Dalray was actually the daughter of an emperor. She was a total theology nerd who became a shrine shaman instead of doing normal princess stuff. But her royal life took a dark turn when her dad died and her little brother took the throne, only to get immediately unalived by their greedy uncle who stole the crown. Absolutely enraged by the betrayal, Dalray vowed a blood revenge and started cooking up a nasty death curse. Her paranoid uncle tried to counter it by setting up magical arrays and a literal scapegoat to take the hit. But Dalray was the greatest shaman of her generation. Her dark magic completely bypassed his defenses and blasted him into the afterlife. Unfortunately, using a death curse for personal revenge is a massive violation of heavenly law, so the curse rebounded and ended her life right there on the floor. Juyuk snaps back to reality after peeking into her tragic backstory. He totally gets why she is so uptight now. She politely tells him to ask her anything, so he tests the waters by asking who founded her empire. When she drops the name Gian Huan and claims he conquered the old lands, our boy is absolutely flabbergasted. Wait, the same guy who founded later Bakshi in his world? The math is not mathing until it finally hits him. He just pulled a summon from a literal parallel universe. He realizes her timeline split from his own way back in the day. He is super impressed by her royal princess aura, but his stomach suddenly interrupts the lore drop. Bro has been fasting since yesterday just to pull her. He offers to whip up some ramen for the squad. The assassin and the giant barbarian are totally down, and the new girl agrees since being picky is bad manners. But while our boy is slaving away at the stove and his two veteran summons are just chilling and hyping up his cooking, the shaman absolutely loses her mind. She screams at them for being arrogant pets and making their master cook his own food. The assassin tries to clap back, calling her a fool for not understanding their casual dynamic. But the shaman is not having any of his lip. She whips out her bells and threatens to hit him with a literal hex to fix his attitude. The mad assassin instantly folds, screaming that he does not want to be cursed and begging for a timeout. The threat of a deadly curse is enough to send the fearless assassin and the giant barbarian scrambling to the kitchen to whip up some ramen. Our boy realizes that even these crazy killers have something they are absolutely terrified of. With the hierarchy firmly established, he asks if they want to hit the tower after they eat. The new shaman girl pledges her absolute loyalty, and they are off. They teleport straight into the dense forest of the 30th floor. Our summoner realizes having this strict princess around might actually be a massive blessing. Since she is constantly bullying the overprotective assassin and keeping him in check, he might finally get a chance to do some fighting himself. He awkwardly laughs and decides to aim for just 10 kills to start. But the giant barbarian immediately ruins his plans by vowing to slaughter everything to keep the summoner safe. The shaman nods in approval at his proper mindset, leaving the rogue sweating bullets as he realizes he is already at the bottom of the totem pole. The system chimes in with their mission to wipe out 80 trolls and 1 twin head boss within 13 hours. Right on cue, the ugly green targets spawn into the forest. Our boy watches the shaman step up and wonders what kind of combat style she uses. Given her tragic past, he fully expects her to unleash some terrifying death curse on the monsters. Instead, she casually summons a glowing blue Bluetooth speaker right into her hand, leaving him completely speechless. Our boy is absolutely flabbergasted when his traditional shaman summon whips out a Bluetooth speaker. She politely explains that since she travels solo, she has to improvise her ritual beats. The summoner just awkwardly gives her the thumbs up to do whatever works. As the giant barbarian and the assassin charge into the troll horde, the shaman hits play. The bass drops, sending a literal shockwave through the front line. She raises her sword and bells, chanting a banishment spell to ward off evil spirits. A massive wave of blue energy erupts from her, turning the Black Tower into a full-blown rave. The summoner is completely blinded by the aura, but the effects are insane. The barbarian instantly doubles in size. The trolls try to scratch him, but his skin is literally rock hard now. He just flexes and sends the entire mob flying with a massive surge of power. The buff hits the assassin too. He zips through the forest with heightened senses and godlike speed, absolutely loving the new power-up as he slices the trolls into ribbons. The assassin is having the time of his life, tearing through the mobs with his new cracked stats. Our boy is absolutely floored, realizing the new girl is a dual threat. She is not just juicing up the squad, but simultaneously nerfing the trolls into the dirt. Catching a contact high from the buffs, our summoner feels his own fighting spirit boil over. He is absolutely pumped and charges forward to finally get his hands dirty. But his grand entrance is immediately cancelled when the shaman yanks him back by his hoodie. She strictly forbids him from fighting, insisting a master should never lower himself to brawl with the trash. He desperately tries to break free, begging her to let go so he can secure at least 1 kill. But it is already over. The system notifications pop up confirming the floor is completely cleared. Our boy drops to his knees and throws a massive tantrum, screaming at the sky because his overpowered squad stole all the XP again. He instantly regrets not just shaking her off, but then he hears a tiny sniffle. He turns around to find the usually terrifying shaman girl crying her eyes out, leaving him completely speechless. The clash between absolute obedience and her overprotective nature leaves the usually stoic princess bawling her eyes out. She tearfully admits she was just terrified of losing our boy. Hearing this hits him like a truck. He remembers her tragic backstory. She is a girl who had to endure the brutal murder of her younger brother and lost absolutely everyone precious to her. It dawns on him that these summons are not just digital trading cards with stats. They are actual people with deep trauma. He gently pats her head and promises he is not going anywhere. The touching moment is immediately ruined when the assassin and the giant come sprinting back from their hunt. The assassin spots the crying princess and instantly assumes our boy scolded her for being mean to him. But the princess immediately flips the script. She whips out her bells and starts screaming at the assassin for daring to approach their master while covered in filthy monster blood. The assassin instantly folds and begs her to put the bells away. With the floor cleared, they teleport straight back to the apartment for some well-deserved rest. But the grind never stops rewarding him. A system window pops up announcing a brand new perk for hitting 30 platinum badges, and our boy eagerly leans in to see what kind of overpowered loot he just scored. A shiny new system window pops up to bless our boy with a massive milestone perk. It drops a glowing blue item skill cooldown reset ticket straight into his inventory. He is absolutely hyped. He immediately considers popping it right now to roll the gacha for another summon. But looking back at his chaotic squad of overpowered bodyguards chilling in his kitchen, he realizes he already has way too much firepower. He decides to stash the golden ticket for a rainy day when things actually get hopeless. Meanwhile, over at a fancy traditional estate, the news is blasting some major updates. The bald director announces that Korea just successfully cleared the 63rd floor skeleton mission. He flexes that the newly acquired Holy Sword was the ultimate cheat code to wipe out the undead horde. The broadcast then directly calls out the public anxiety caused by their former rank 1 player defecting to Japan. The director promises they will clear the 66th floor within a month without him. The trader is watching this live and his eye practically twitches out of his skull. He absolutely loses his mind and chucks his glass straight through the flat screen. He screams that if the association had a broken item like that, they should have just given it to him from the start. But before he can finish his massive temper tantrum, the door clicks open behind him, leaving him sweating bullets. Meanwhile, over in Japan, the defector is throwing a massive temper tantrum. He just smashed his flat screen because Korea is doing perfectly fine without him. A suit walks in, and our trader immediately tries to play it cool, acting like the TV just spontaneously combusted. But the suit is not here for small talk. He asks if the defector is ready to clear the 57th floor tomorrow. Since Japan cannot get their hands on the holy sword, the higher-ups are getting antsy and need a PR win to calm the public. The defector grumbles and agrees, telling the suit to buy him a new TV on the way out. The second the door closes, he starts seething. He curses out both Korea and Japan, absolutely mauling over the fact that some random player found a holy attribute weapon. He scrolls through the news, watching the swordswoman flex the gear he desperately needed, completely unaware that the mysterious owner he wants to murder is just a broke kid with a crazy summon roster. Speaking of our boy, he is currently giggling at his phone like a schoolgirl. He is eating up all the online hype about his latest S-rank clear. Suddenly the doorbell rings. A delivery guy drops off 2 massive coolers, and our summoner happily drags them inside. He pops the lid to reveal the ultimate flex. 10 tubs of premium ice cream. He reminisces about the dark days when he used to just stare at these in the grocery store and swallow his own drool. But now that he has $1 billion hitting his bank account soon, he is living like a king. He pops open a tub of sweet crown, ready to treat his summons to the good life. Our boy takes the first bite of his premium ice cream because his summons refuse to eat before their master. Once he gives the green light, the assassin and the giant absolutely demolish their tubs, praising the sugary goodness. But the newly summoned princess watches them with pure disgust, calling them frivolous commoners. She lectures them on emotional restraint while elegantly scooping up a tiny bite of strawberry ice cream. The assassin tells her to just chill out before she gets indigestion. But the second that sweet dairy hits her taste buds, her stoic facade completely shatters into pure sparkling joy. The assassin immediately calls her out for breaking character. She awkwardly coughs and tries to play it off, claiming she never had anything this sweet back in her royal palace. She formally bows to our boy, thanking him for the frozen blessing. He just smiles and promises to buy her more, since even royalty cannot resist the power of modern desserts. Trying to change the subject, the princess asks if anything is troubling her young master. The assassin instantly snitches about the rank 1 traitor who defected to Japan. Hearing this, the princess absolutely erupts into a fiery rage. She declares that a powerful warrior should be loyal to their nation and vows to make the knave pay the ultimate price, while the assassin just claps along like a total hype man. Our boy quickly waves his hands, telling her to drop it since the guy is Japan's problem now. The princess is shocked by his mercy, but our boy gets serious. He flat out refuses to let her risk getting hurt by a curse backlash just to punish some random traitor. The assassin immediately glazes our boy, praising his infinite wisdom, while Juyuk just calls him a flip-flopping bat. But the shaman clarifies that she isn't planning to drop a lethal hex anyway. Instead, she is just going to send a little package of pure karma straight to his doorstep. Basically, if the traitor has been a good boy, he gets peaches and sunshine, but if he has been a menace, he gets a one-way ticket to the snake pit. Hearing that it is just a cosmic vibe check, our boy figures there is absolutely zero harm in letting her cook. With the green light given, the shaman gets into position. Right on cue, the assassin pops out of a portal holding the ultimate artifact, a literal TV remote. Since the traitor dipped to Japan in a hurry, he left all his furniture behind, making it way too easy for an SSR-grade ninja to break in and swipe his clicker without catching a single charge. With the target's DNA secured on the remote, the shaman unsheathes her ritual blade. She declares the start of the karmic judgment and slices her own finger open, letting the blood drip down to initiate the spell while our boy panics over the sudden self-harm. The shaman gets right to work. She channels her spiritual energy into the stolen TV remote, calling upon the gods of heaven and earth to weigh the traitor's karma. The plastic clicker lights up with glowing red sigils as the curse takes hold. The remote cracks under the intense magical pressure, glowing a toxic green before a massive black monolith straight up spawns in the middle of the kitchen. The shaman gives a polite bow, letting our boy know the ritual is complete. Now it is entirely up to the heavens to judge the defector's sins. If his karma is light, he gets a slap on the wrist. But if his sins are heavy, he is in for a world of hurt. Speaking of the devil, the scene cuts to Japan where the arrogant traitor is strutting onto a live broadcast stage. He soaks up the cheers and flashes a cocky smirk, completely unaware that a massive karmic nuke is about to drop right on his head. Meanwhile, over in Japan, the broadcast studio is absolutely popping off. The host hypes up their brand new special guest and out walks South Korea's former #1 player Yoo Cheolmin, soaking up the applause like a total diva. The suit thanks him for the interview and asks why he is rushing to clear the 57th floor today when the deadline is still miles away. The traitor flashes a cocky grin and claims he just wants to reassure his new fellow citizens after all the recent drama. The host eats it up, reminding everyone how Japan recently lost their top guy. But our guy is not sweating it. He casually drops that he is level 66 now and holds up a hand declaring he is going to smash the record and clear the floor in just 5 hours. He promises to prove his worth to the whole country. With the whole nation watching, he teleports straight into the 57th floor of the Japanese Black Tower. The system buffs his stats and he spawns into a rocky canyon swarming with wyverns. The arrogant defector smirks, noting it has been a hot minute since he last visited this zone. The system chimes in with the 57th floor mission: hunt 15 fire wyverns within 14 hours or face death. Simple enough, right? These giant red lizards are basically the undisputed kings of the sky. Our arrogant defector struts in completely confident. He has cleared this floor countless times before and figures it would be weirder if he actually failed. But suddenly a random chill runs down his spine. He brushes it off as just not being in peak condition today, completely unaware that a certain shaman just cursed his entire existence. Deciding to wrap this up quickly so he can take a nap, he summons a glowing magical crossbow. His big brain strategy is to isolate the monsters for one-on-one fights because getting jumped by a whole flock of giant reptiles is a fast track to the grave. He spots a lone target and fires a massive purple energy bolt right into its leg. The wyvern screeches in pain and immediately dive bombs straight toward him. Our guy holds his ground and unleashes an absolute barrage of arrows, hoping to chip away its health, but his jaw drops when his attacks just bounce harmlessly off the beast's massive claws like cheap plastic toys. Our arrogant defector is already having a miserable time. His arrows are literally bouncing off the wyverns like cheap rubber toys. He swears his calculations were perfect, but he is forced to swap to his glowing sword and shield to take on 2 of the flying lizards at once. He manages to take them down, but he is left absolutely gasping for air. He curses his terrible luck, wondering why this raid is so incredibly difficult today. Determined to lock in, he readies his crossbow again and promises not to let his guard down. But thanks to our shaman's long-distance curse, his body has other plans. His nose starts to twitch. A massive sneeze rips out of him and his finger slips right on the trigger. The stray bolt flies across the map and smacks directly into another wyvern, alerting the entire flock. Now he has 3 angry dragons circling overhead. He starts panicking because 3 at once is way above his pay grade, but he knows he cannot just teleport out. If he gives up now, his humiliating retreat will be broadcast live to the entire Japanese studio. Giving up is not an option, so he braces himself. The 3 wyverns unleash a massive synchronized fire breath attack. Our boy is forced to backflip through the flames, sweating bullets as he realizes this showboating run is turning into an absolute nightmare. The defector is currently fighting for his life against a pack of fire-breathing wyverns. He manages to take down most of the flock and stands panting in the dirt. He smirks to himself. He thinks his initial bad luck actually worked out in his favor, since the last lizard is just 1 hit away from death. The arrogant warrior grins. He figures if he clears this floor in under 4 hours, it will make a massive splash on live television. The final wyvern charges up a desperate attack. Our guy confidently steps back to deliver a textbook counterstrike. But the moment his boot hits the dirt, he hears a sickening crunch. He freezes in absolute horror. He looks down to find his foot planted right inside a wyvern nest. 3 freshly hatched baby dragons pop out of their shells and immediately start screaming for their mother. The defector starts sweating bullets. The mathematical probability of stepping on a hatching egg in the middle of a boss fight is practically 0. But thanks to the shaman's curse, his luck is completely in the gutter. A massive flock of enraged adult wyverns instantly dive bombs his location. He realizes he has not landed a single critical hit all day and is about to get absolutely cooked on live TV. The arrogant defector is absolutely losing his mind. He gets blasted across the rocky terrain, screaming about how none of this makes any sense. With a massive wyvern claw about to turn him into a human pancake, he throws up a desperate energy shield. He decides that being a laughingstock on live television is way better than actually dying. He hits the big red quit button. Back in the studio, the idol group is literally mid-cheer, telling him to do his best. Suddenly, the supposed hero materializes out of thin air and instantly faceplants onto the hard stage floor. He scrambles to his knees and aggressively chugs a health potion while the host sweats bullets. The poor suit guy tries to salvage the broadcast by asking for a round of applause and wondering why he finished so early. But the humiliated just wipes his mouth, screams that this is all completely rigged, and storms off the set. The Japanese media immediately goes into a frenzy. Breaking news banners call him a total fraud, and the government approval ratings absolutely tank. 2 days later, he tries to quietly run the raid again, but ends up failing miserably and crying in a dark alleyway like a total scrub. Meanwhile, back in Korea, things are going fantastic. The news announces that our introverted summoner just cleared his 31st consecutive S-rank floor, leaving a massive pile of dead minotaurs in his wake. And right after that, the swordswoman Nam Gaeun successfully clears the 64th floor in record time thanks to her rented holy sword. Meanwhile, over at the US Department of Homeland Security, the suits are scratching their heads over a request to rent out the holy sword. One of their top players wants to spam the 66th floor just to test out the shiny new holy attribute item. The Secretary of Homeland Security figures they will just handle the rental through official diplomatic channels. But the Tower Raid Director brings up a much juicier piece of gossip. Turns out the Japanese Prime Minister's office is secretly begging to borrow an American player since their shiny new defector completely fumbled the bag. The director is shocked that his boss is actually considering bailing them out and asks what the catch is. Cue the most devious capitalist smirk you have ever seen. The secretary plans to milk Japan dry by dragging out the negotiations until the literal deadline of their country collapsing. Since they will be sweating bullets, the US can extort them for absolutely everything they have got. The news is having an absolute field day with the purple-haired defector's massive L over in Japan. Our boy summons are loving the karma, but the summoner knows the guy brought this entirely on himself with his fake media plays and freeloading. The squad is fully prepped to carry him through the next floor, but our boy needs a private chat with his strict new shaman. He slides her a tub of premium ice cream and instantly lands a critical hit on her sweet tooth. The assassin is absolutely flabbergasted that his boss knows the exact top 5 flavor of the month. The boys immediately start crying about their wounded hearts and lack of loyalty since they are not getting a sweet treat. But the second our boy promises to buy them beef later, they instantly cure their depression and sprint out the door. With the room clear, the shaman praises her master as a noble gentleman capable of ruling the world. But our boy slams his hands down and asks if it makes sense for a future world ruler to literally do zero fighting. He demands to catch exactly 5 monsters per floor. The shaman gives him a terrifying glare and tries to lowball him to just 1, but our boy holds his ground and they finally shake hands on a solid 3. With the terms officially set, the squad teleports straight into the 32nd floor of the Black Tower. The system immediately drops their next mission, which is to wipe out 20 Stage 2 Minotaurs. The system drops a fun little lore nugget. This zone is packed with Minotaurs that just keep getting bigger the higher you climb. Meatball is already a 3-meter unit, but the boss on the 35th floor is double that. Right now, our boy is staring down a 4-meter beefcake on the 32nd floor. He is shaking in his boots, but after hyping up his summons, backing out would just be embarrassing. Dalray immediately starts dropping her shaman beats, layering the squad with massive buffs while crippling the enemies. Juiced up on that sweet support magic, Meatball easily flattens one of the giant cows with a single punch. Cossack just chills on standby, ready to step in if things go south. But our boy smirks. With this absolute dream team backing him up, he would have to actively try to fail. He charges straight into the fray. The Minotaur roars, but our summoner is already airborne. He channels his newly acquired lightning magic into his mace, prepping the primordial Thunderstaff's 3rd form. With a massive swing, he brings down a devastating falling thunder flash right on the monster's dome. Our boy brings down the thunder. He lands a massive critical hit with his new staff while his summons clean up the rest of the trash mobs. And just like that, he secures another casual S double plus rank and a shiny new platinum badge for the collection. The next day, over at the Awakened Management Department, the rank 2 swordswoman teleports back from her raid looking absolutely exhausted. She drops her empty potion bottle and admits the 65th floor was a total nightmare. But she flashes a peace sign to the manager and clarifies she definitely did not fail. She confidently promises to clear the 66th floor in 3 days right on schedule. Meanwhile, the government suits are having a massive debate and decide to push for that early clear just to buy themselves 6 months of breathing room. The team leader is hyped because he knows our boy will easily hit the 60th floor by then. The manager is sweating over the holy sword breaking before that happens, but the team leader just laughs it off. He points out that other top players cleared those floors without a holy weapon anyway. He calls our summoner a total anomaly and says they would not even need to worry if the sword snapped in half. Right on cue, the manager gets jump scared by a fresh system alert popping up on her screen. The system pings again. Another S++ clear on the 33rd floor. The office staff are absolutely stunned. The team leader just smirks. He confirms our boy is a total anomaly. Back home, our summoner is inspecting a new toy, a perception-blocking talisman. This little piece of paper slaps an illusion over his summons. Regular people will just see them as normal humans. Now his chaotic squad can finally touch grass without causing a national panic. And the good news keeps rolling in. His phone buzzes with a casual 1 billion won deposit for renting out his holy sword. He does the math and realizes he has already raked in 3 billion. He instantly daydreams about flexing his massive wealth on a tropical beach. But first things first, it is time for a family outing. They hit the city streets and the talisman is working overtime. A random girl walks by and actually calls the 3-meter-tall barbarian cute. Our boy realizes she is just seeing a giant goofy cow mascot waddling down the sidewalk. Nobody is screaming, so the illusion is flawless. With his wallet heavy and his squad disguised, he points the way to a high-end barbecue joint. He tells his crew to go absolutely wild on the beef. Tonight, the summoner is paying. The next day, the summons are practically vibrating with energy, thanking our boy for the absolute feast. Cossack casually asks how much the dinner cost, and Juyuk just stares into the void, completely traumatized by the 12 million won receipt. But hey, if they want to eat premium beef again, they gotta work for it. The squad shouts their loyalty and dives straight into the 34th floor, where the mission is to wipe out 20 Stage 4 Minotaurs. And these things are no joke. Juyuk looks up in absolute horror at a massive 6-meter-tall beefcake sweating bullets as he realizes just how freaking huge this boss is. He briefly considers going for the kneecaps to bring it down, but quickly admits he is way out of his depth here. Cossack steps up, offering to handle the heavy lifting as long as Juyuk promises to just catch one. Cossack instructs Meatball to interlock his fingers and give our boy a boost. Meatball happily obliges and Juyuk steps onto the giant's hands, getting launched straight into the air to take his shot. Our boy steps onto the giant's hands for a boost, but Meatball doesn't know his own strength. He absolutely yeets the summoner into the stratosphere. Juyuk shoots up like a rocket, sweating bullets as he realizes he is way too high up. He screams in pure panic, wondering why he isn't stopping. Reaching the apex of his unwanted spaceflight, he realizes he is completely screwed. Looking down at the tiny figures below, he tries to tell himself to calm down, but gravity kicks in, and he starts plummeting face first toward the ground, screaming for his life. Mid-air, a light bulb goes off. He remembers his shadow step skill and how it sometimes felt like he was walking on nothing but air. He focuses hard, imagining that same energy gathering right at the soles of his boots. Suddenly, a bright blue aura flares up around his feet. The system confirms the skill activation. Instead of becoming a pancake on the dungeon floor, our boy literally steps on the air itself. Blue shockwaves ripple out with every stride as he runs through the sky, laughing like an absolute maniac at his new gravity-defying trick. A massive blue beam of energy crashes down from the sky right into the middle of the alleyway. The Minotaur boss squares up against our boy's summons, but they are completely distracted by the light show above. The shaman and the giant barbarian stare up in absolute awe as they realize their master is literally walking on the clouds. The assassin starts sweating bullets as it clicks that our boy is pulling off a mid-air shadow step. Back in his past life, his old captain used to preach that mastering the shadow step would let a man walk on the sky itself. He thought the old man was just capping to sound cool, but seeing it with his own two eyes, he cannot help but smile like a proud dad at his summoner's insane talent. Meanwhile, our boy is plummeting at terminal velocity and panicking about how he is supposed to aim at this speed. Deciding to just send it, he channels his mana and activates the third form of his primal lightning staff. The Minotaur roars and throws up a glowing red energy shield to block the incoming nuke, but it is completely useless as our boy slams down with a falling thunder flash that absolutely obliterates the monster in a blinding explosion. He manages to stick the superhero landing by using the massive recoil of the attack to cushion his fall, though his heart is beating out of his chest as he nervously checks his pants to see if he just wet himself from the sheer terror of the drop. His summons immediately start glazing him to the moon and back. The assassin praises his dazzling talent while the barbarian declares he deserves a true warrior title. The assassin is literally crying tears of relief because he was so worried his fragile master was going to splat on the pavement. Our boy just laughs off the glaze and quickly orders his squad to wipe out the rest of the trash mob so they can secure the bag. Our boy finishes off the remaining minotaurs with a massive blast of light. The system immediately chimes in with the sweet sound of success. He clears the 34th floor, bags a level up, and scores a hefty chunk of mana stone. But the real prize is the glowing rock that drops right into his lap. A summon grade up rune. The summoner is absolutely floored. This ultra-rare item just dropped as a standard reward instead of a special milestone perk. He knows he just hit the absolute jackpot. The system slaps another S++ rank on his record, hands over a shiny new platinum badge, and boots the squad out of the tower. They teleport back to the apartment, and our boy thanks his crew for the hard carry. But the giant barbarian only has one thing on his mind. He blushes like a schoolgirl and asks if they are going out for Korean beef again. The assassin immediately starts chewing the big guy out. He reminds the clueless oaf that their master dropped a small fortune on their last dinner date and warns him that no boss wants a servant with a black hole for a stomach. He even starts bonking the giant on the head to teach him some self-restraint. The summoner just watches his poor meatball suffer more damage here than he ever takes inside the tower. Feeling bad for his favorite meat shield, our boy decides to step in. The depressed barbarian mumbles that a true warrior can just starve, but his eyes go wide when the summoner holds out his hand. He presents the glowing grade-up rune right to the big guy. Overwhelmed with gratitude, the giant barbarian bursts into tears and scoops our boy up in a massive bear hug. Juyuk immediately regrets his generosity as he gets a mouthful of coarse chest hair. Meanwhile, over in China, the Special Information Department is having a bit of a crisis. A subordinate reports that their progress on the 59th floor has completely stalled. It turns out that kidnapping foreign players isn't a great strategy when over half of them just decide to off themselves inside the tower rather than cooperate. The boss calls them useless bastards and tosses a classified clipboard onto his desk. It is a complete list of South Korea's elite players. The subordinate stammers out a question about how he got his hands on such highly sensitive intel, but the boss quickly shuts him down. Deputy Director Xiao Jun orders his lackey to pick a suitable target from the recently contracted rookies and drag them over to China. He specifically notes to avoid anyone with a famous name to keep things quiet. He reminds the soldier to leave absolutely zero evidence behind so the government can maintain plausible deniability. The lackey throws up a crisp salute for the great nation. Xiao Jun smirks to himself, mocking Japan for their stupid public stunts. He figures kidnapping players in secret is way smarter than openly forcing naturalization and getting publicly humiliated for it. 2 days later, back in Korea, our boy is staring down another bubbling pot of instant noodles. He complains that they could just order delivery, but his strict shaman summon insists they have to eat ramen for at least 5 days straight. Back at the apartment, our boy is staring at his system screen in pure confusion. His giant barbarian summon is still grayed out and unable to be summoned. Cossack leans in to casually drop a bomb, mentioning that if a rank upgrade fails, there is a solid chance the summon gets permanently deleted. Our boy absolutely loses his mind at the thought of losing his giant meat shield. But the shaman princess immediately steps in to smack the assassin for scaring their master. She calmly explains that if the big guy was actually deleted, his name would have vanished from the roster completely. Instead, she drops some massive news. The only reason a summon stays locked like this is if they are in the middle of leaping 2 or more ranks at once. Cossack immediately starts cheering, claiming the barbarian's soul is just as pure as a field of flowers, while our boy just glares at him for the unnecessary heart attack. Then the math finally clicks in the assassin's head. If the barbarian jumps 2 whole ranks, he is going to hit SSR grade and be on the exact same level as him. Cossack instantly spirals into a deep depression by the stove, while our boy just laughs at his misery and suggests they hit up a cafe. But sitting on the couch, he realizes a massive problem. If the giant comes back even bigger, and they already have the shaman living with them, this luxury apartment is going to get real cramped real fast. Down at the local cafe, the NPCs are busy hyping up tomorrow's floor raid, completely confident that the country's rank 2 player will carry them since she is currently renting our boy's overpowered holy sword. Some random fanboy is literally crying over how much he wants to hold her hand as our duo casually strolls right past him. Cossack quickly bounces back from his existential crisis to deliver a massive tray of sugary drinks and cakes, leaving the shaman absolutely mesmerized by modern desserts. Juhyuk is chilling at a cafe when his phone buzzes. It is the suit guy from the association calling to congratulate him on his 34th consecutive S-rank clear. But then the guy drops a bomb. He brings up the massive luxury penthouse that the traitor rank 1 player used to live in. Our boy immediately starts sweating bullets, thinking they found out his assassin broke in there earlier. But instead, the suit offers to just give him the deed for free. He says it is a thank you gift for renting out the holy sword at such a massive discount. Juhyuk is completely flabbergasted and tells the guy he needs some time to think about it before hanging up. His disguised summons immediately lean in for the tea. The red-haired assassin is hyped because the place has a massive rooftop garden perfect for growing lettuce to eat with Korean beef. But when Juhyuk asks for their actual advice, the assassin hits him with a hard no. He warns our boy that capitalism is cold-blooded and there is no such thing as a free lunch. The shaman girl completely disagrees and holds up a green circle. She thinks the house is a totally trivial reward compared to the massive favors he has done for the country. Juhyuk is totally torn. He knows his own pushover personality too well. If he takes a multi-million-dollar freebie now, he will never be able to say no when the association inevitably comes crawling back with a suicide mission. So he slams his hand on the table and makes a boss move. He declares he is just going to buy the entire penthouse with his own cash so he can sleep peacefully at night. Summonsen immediately start clapping and praising his massive brain. Our boy pulls out his phone to check the market price. He figures a fancy penthouse will run him maybe 2 billion won, which is absolute pocket change since he has double that sitting in the bank. But reality hits him like a freight train when the listing pops up. 20 billion won. His soul instantly leaves his body as he stares at the screen in pure, unadulterated horror. His assassin buddy notices he looks like he just saw a ghost, but our guy quickly brushes it off. Suddenly, he starts backpedaling hard. He hits them with the ultimate copium, complaining that a massive apartment just means more cleaning, crazy maintenance fees, and a ridiculously long walk to the bathroom at night. His loyal summon completely glazes him, praising his brilliant insight while totally missing the fact that his master is just broke. But as they head out, the assassin's demeanor instantly shifts. He brushes past 2 random guys and his killer instincts flare up. He catches the thick scent of blood and spots the heavy scarring on their hands. A faint whiff of gunpowder confirms his suspicions before he even spots the piece tucked into the guy's waistband. A dangerous smile creeps onto his face. He knows exactly what these guys are. They are professional killers who make a living taking lives, just like him. Without missing a beat, he secretly casts a tracking skill, planting invisible magical markers right into the back of their skulls. Our boy calls out to him from down the street, completely oblivious to the hitmen tailing them. The assassin instantly drops the scary guy act and cheerfully skips over to his master, deciding to keep this little discovery to himself for now. Over at the Awakening Management Department, Korea's rank 2 player is getting into the zone. Namgaeun is sitting cross-legged on the floor doing some intense mental prep. She knows the rented holy sword is an absolute cheat code for neutralizing the dark aura of the undead, but our girl is a seasoned pro. She knows better than to just rely on the gear carrying her. She runs a full simulation in her head. She pictures herself dropping into the absolute meat grinder of the 66th floor. Dark mummies, dark zombies, dark skeletons, and dark ghouls. She visualizes herself slicing and dicing through hundreds of these rotting freaks with perfect precision. Her eyes snap open with pure main character energy. She hops up and the suits in the room give her their best wishes as she steps into the teleportation circle. The system chimes in to confirm her entry to the 66th floor of the Korean Black Tower. She spawns inside a protective barrier with her rented holy sword glowing like a neon sign, ready to absolutely style on the massive spectral nightmare waiting for her. Our boy is getting restless just sitting around watching TV. He wants to hit the 35th floor already. He pulls up his system interface and his eyes light up. The unable to summon tag on his giant barbarian is finally gone. He eagerly reaches out and triggers the summon. A massive pillar of light erupts in his living room. Our boy shields his eyes, practically vibrating with excitement as he wonders if his big guy managed to hit SR or even SSR rank. He starts to welcome his giant meat shield back but completely freezes. Instead of a massive hulking monster, a totally normal-sized, ridiculously shredded, handsome tattooed dude is standing right in his living room. The guy politely thanks him for the summon while the system casually drops the bomb that this absolute Chad is indeed an SSR grade. The system automatically pulls out his other two summons. The shaman princess looks confused, while our resident psycho assassin immediately starts sweating. Cossack asks if our boy is finally revealing their existence to strangers, pointing right at the new Giga Chad in the room. But our boy just points back and deadpans that this handsome stranger is actually Meatball, sending the assassin into an absolute screaming meltdown. Our boy tests the new guy to make sure it is actually his giant barbarian. He asks him to recite the 3 principles of the summoned. The tattooed warrior immediately starts sweating and fumbling his words. Yep, that 0 IQ confirms it is definitely Meatball. With the squad back together, they teleport straight into the 34th floor. They are immediately greeted by a welcoming committee of massive minotaurs. The newly shrunk barbarian volunteers to take the front line. Our boy panics. Meatball used to be a 10-foot-tall wall of muscle, but now he is just a regular 6-foot-tall dude. The summoner begs him to at least take the assassin with him and get some buffs from the shaman first. But Meatball literally grabs the shaman's rattle to stop her. He drops to one knee and begs his master to let him test out his brand new SSR upgrade solo. Our boy caves and gives him the green light. Just in case things go south, the summoner whispers to his assassin to be ready to jump in and save the day. Meatball steps right up to the giant beefcakes. Golden energy explodes out of the warrior as he powers up. The minotaurs instantly lock onto him with glowing red eyes. Our boy screams in absolute terror. He wanted Meatball to pick them off one by one, not pull the entire room's aggro at once. The tattooed warrior lets out a roar and starts glowing like a Super Saiyan. Our boy and his assassin are absolutely flabbergasted as the guy starts rapidly expanding. Juyuk realizes his summon is reverting right back to his original giant meatball form, but this time he is absolutely massive. Cossack is sweating bullets as they realize this dude is now 4 to 5 meters of pure muscle, making him just as big as the minotaurs they are supposed to be fighting. The giant barbarian does not waste a single second. He leaps into the air with terrifying speed and delivers a devastating flying kick right into a minotaur jaw. The beast tries to counterattack, but Meatball just brushes it off and follows up with a brutal right hook that sends the monster flying. He is just absolutely styling on these floor bosses with pure physical dominance. Watching from the sidelines, our boy jokes that he should have brought popcorn for this show. He notes that giving the big guy that summon upgrade rune was definitely the right play. Even the usually cocky assassin has to admit the giant is looking pretty cool right now. But that admiration lasts about 2 seconds before Cossack starts mauling. He grits his teeth and throws a massive tantrum, complaining that the system is totally rigged. He used an upgrade rune too, so he cannot fathom why the barbarian got twice as strong as him. Before he can cancel the whole operation, the strict shaman steps in and aggressively scolds the assassin for showing such ugly jealousy in front of their master. Cossack immediately shrinks down and sulks, forced to apologize for his gamer rage. Our boy steps in to play mediator. He tells the strict shaman to dial back the hostility and stop bullying his favorite assassin. She immediately gets all flustered and blushes. She apologizes for disturbing his peace and awkwardly shakes the assassin's hand to make amends. The red-haired psycho is just thrilled to be included. But while they are having this cute little team-building moment, they completely forget about the giant barbarian fighting for his life in the background. Our boy snaps back to reality and realizes his tank is currently throwing hands with a massive minotaur. Not that he needs any help. The barbarian powers up with a massive roar and starts absolutely styling on these beasts. He delivers a devastating flaming right hook straight to the jaw. Then he follows it up with a brutal downward smash. He is literally screaming that it is meatball in time as he sends the entire herd flying across the room. The system chimes in to announce they successfully cleared the 34th floor. With the battle over, the giant shrinks back down to his normal human size. He looks down at his master and casually asks for a harder floor because he is barely even warmed up. Our boy just smiles. With his newly upgraded tank ready to throw down, he knows getting those top-tier ranks is going to be an absolute breeze. Back at the apartment, our boy is chilling with his summons over some ice cream. He is pretty hyped about the giant barbarian's new compact SSR form and upgraded firepower. But that hype dies real quick when the big guy starts aggressively making out with his dessert, splashing sticky collateral damage all over the living room. Meanwhile, the assassin is over by the window flipping his daggers like a moody teenager. He is looking dead serious, probably plotting a murder until our boy calls him out. The shaman immediately roasts him for being jealous of the new favorite child. The assassin tries to deny it while looking absolutely depressed. Our boy just sighs, admitting he is genuinely happy the barbarian is making things safer for them. He warns the assassin not to let his guard down just because the big guy shrank, noting his appetite definitely leveled up, but then he hits him with the ultimate bro move, handing over a secret stash of ice cream he saved just for him. The assassin is instantly reduced to happy tears, crying over a pint of vanilla like a total simp. Since the manifestation time is up, a system window pops up showing a 3-hour cooldown before he can resummon him. Our boy asks if he has always been this obsessed with football, and the assassin dramatically plays along just to secure his next summon slot. With a cheerful thank you, the assassin dips out. Our boy then announces he has to run an errand at the Awakening Management Department to cash in his massive pile of mana stones. The giant barbarian flexes his newly upgraded muscles and insists on acting as a bodyguard since the outside world is dangerous. But our boy is having absolutely none of it. He physically drags his crying summons away from the door, reminding them they literally cannot enter the association building without being registered players. A sleek black car pulls up to the Awakening Management Department. A suited official is already waiting on the steps to roll out the red carpet for their VIP. Our summoner steps out scratching his head and playing it cool about the luxury ride while internally sweating over the absolute wrestling match it took to leave his overprotective squad behind. Inside the VIP lounge, they get down to business. Our boy gives a massive thumbs up praising the rank 2 swordswoman for her recent tower clear, but the suit guy is completely laser focused on showering him with perks. He is absolutely determined to hand over the deed to a luxury penthouse, and our boy is starting to feel incredibly guilty about turning down such aggressive sugar daddy energy. But the official quickly pivots to a much more serious topic. He reveals that the #1 ranked player in the entire world, the American magic swordsman Gerald Watson, is scheduled to visit Korea in just a few days, and the sole purpose of this massive international trip is to rent out our boy's holy sword. The official casually drops the rental term, stating the fee is 10 million per use. Our boy immediately starts sweating bullets, assuming he means 10 million won, which is already a massive bag. But the suit guy clarifies with a deadpan stare that they are talking about 10 million US dollars. Our boy is absolutely flabbergasted. 13 billion won? The suit guy is sweating too, but he is ready to play hardball. He tells our summoner that when the US negotiation team arrives, he is going to squeeze them dry. It is a rare inquiry from their global neighbors and they need to milk it. But our boy is practically having a heart attack. He reaches out begging the guy to just take the $10 million. That is more than enough to secure the bag. He does not want this guy's pride ruining the easiest payday of his life. Later that evening, our boy returns to his luxury high-rise. He steps through the door and immediately collapses on the floor. But these are not tears of exhaustion. He is crying pure tears of joy. He realizes his 2 billion won salary is basically just pocket change now. He mentally shouts out to his mom that her son has finally made it to the big leagues. Suddenly, he gets a burst of energy and kicks off his shoes. He is starving and starts listing off all the expensive takeout he could order. Fried chicken, beef, tuna, sashimi. He debates just ordering the entire menu. But old habits die hard. Instead of a 5-star feast, he settles for a cheap pot of instant ramen. He figures he will save the good stuff to share with his summons later. For now, the noodle life is keeping him perfectly content. The clock ticks past midnight and the 3-hour cooldown finally resets. A system window pops up and our boy immediately brings his favorite assassin back into the real world. The red-haired psycho spawns in with a crisp salute thanking his master for the resummon. Our boy is dead on his feet and lets out a massive yawn. He tells his summon to kick back and enjoy the football game as much as he wants. The assassin happily grabs the remote and settles onto the couch with a warm smile. Our boy is out cold on the couch, completely exhausted from his newly acquired billionaire status. But the moment he is asleep, his loyal assassin summon dips out of the apartment. He teleports straight to a nearby rooftop, looking over the city like a dark fantasy Batman. Remember those 2 suspicious guys lurking around earlier? Well, our assassin planted microscopic magic tracking marks on them. He has been monitoring these bozos all day, and he is absolutely livid that they dared to spy on his precious master's home. Nobody messes with his summoner on his watch. He tracks their location to a shady joint called Imperial Traditional Massage. Inside, it is less about deep tissue and more about deep cover. A suit guy in the hallway is busy confirming intel on their targets, reporting to a room full of goons that one of their marks signed an elite contract a few months back and is already clearing the high 20s. The boss of this little operation is a scarred-up bald dude, looking over a very familiar photo. Yep, it is our boy. Turns out this guy is a captain from the Chinese Special Forces, and they are planning a massive kidnapping operation to snatch up as many high-value Korean players as possible. Too bad for them, a certain mad assassin is about to crash their meeting. Suddenly, 2 severed heads roll right into the middle of their little kidnapping committee. The operatives absolutely lose their minds and draw their weapons, screaming about an intruder in the hallway. The goons rush out to hunt down the threat, leaving their bald captain behind clutching his intel. But as he looks down at the photos of our boy Bong, a voice right next to him agrees that their summoner looks amazing on camera. The captain freezes in pure terror, realizing the intruder is already sitting on the couch right beside him. The bald guy panics and swings a massive combat knife, but Cossack just catches the blade barehanded and shatters it like glass. Annoyed that his fanboy moment got interrupted, the assassin casually slices the captain's hand clean off with a blue energy blade. The captain screams in absolute agony as his men rush back into the room. Seeing their boss bleeding out, they immediately open fire with their handguns. But Cossack easily dodges the barrage of bullets and leaps right into the fray. He tells them there is no need to rush since they are all going to die today anyway, all because they made the fatal mistake of messing with his master.